it's hard to know if it'll be alright, if it'll be alright. When you're far from home and you're feeling cold, it'll be alright, it'll be alright. You gotta believe when you can't see a thing. Hold on to hope, hold on to hope. Your faith is a compass to bring you to shore, and hold on to hope, hold on to hope. Just take a breath, it's not over yet. It'll be alright, it'll be alright. Take it step by step, just around the bend. It'll be alright, it'll be alright. Oh, you gotta believe when you can't see a thing. Hold on to hope, hold on to hope. Your faith is a compass to bring you to shore, and hold on to hope, hold on to hope. Hold on to hope. Your faith is a compass. You gotta believe when you can't see a thing. Hold on to hope. Your faith is a compass. Just hold on. You gotta believe when you can't see a thing. Hold on to hope, hold on to hope. Your faith is a compass to bring you to shore, and hold on to hope, hold on to hold on to hope, hold on to hope. I try to erase you, but you're written in ink. I really can't face you, but you're all that I see. It just makes me mad that I want you back, but I can't stop thinking about it. I'm stuck living without it. That look on your face, how it made me feel safe. Now I can't stop thinking about it, but I'm better off without it. Ooh, we were never destined to live inside this tension. Call us a learning lesson. Ooh, 'cause there's a better me at the end of all these feelings. Call us a learning lesson. Everything's clearer when you're not in the way. But in the mirror, I still see your face. It just makes me mad that I want you back, but I can't stop thinking about it. I'm stuck living without it. That look on your face, how it made me feel safe. Now I can't stop thinking about it, but I'm better off without it. Ooh, we were never destined to live inside this tension. Call us a learning lesson. Ooh, 'cause there's a better me at the end of all these feelings. Call us a learning lesson. I'm trying, I'm finding, I think I'll be alright. Just give me time. I'm I'm trying, I'm finding, I think I'll be alright. Just give me time. I'm trying, I'm finding, I think I'll be alright. Just give me time. I'm trying, I'm finding, I think I'll be alright. Just give me time. Ooh, we were never destined to live inside this tension. Call us a learning lesson. Ooh, 'cause there's a better me at the end of all these feelings. Call us a learning lesson.
Ambers in the building, oh, yeah, yeah. Yeah, relax your mind, baby, let me take you on a ride, yeah. That twinkle in the sky reminds me of your beautiful smile. I can't get enough of you, no, baby, you're my sunshine. This is a journey of a lifetime. Sit back and enjoy this wine. I've been searching around the world for a girl like you, but you're one in a million. I've been waiting for someone like you, love. That's that one in a million. Baby, let me love you a long time. Love you for a millennium. For you, baby, there's nothing I won't try. Yeah, relax your mind. Baby, let me take you on a ride, yeah. That twinkle in the sky reminds me of your beautiful smile. I can't get enough of you, no, baby, you're my sunshine. This is a journey of a lifetime. Sit back and enjoy this wine. You've been through a lot in the past, so you got your walls up high. You've been hurt in the past. Baby, let me feed your heart tonight. Let me give you what you need. Leave the past beyond. I wanna give you everything, good loving, baby. Yeah, relax your mind. Baby, let me take you on a ride. Yeah, that twinkle in the sky reminds me of your beautiful smile. I can't get enough of you, no. Baby, you're my sunshine. This is a journey of a lifetime. Sit back and enjoy this wine. Yeah, relax your mind. Baby, let me take you on a ride. Yeah, that twinkle in the sky reminds me of your beautiful smile.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the KartRider Drift League opening weekend. I am State. Joined with me is Peter, and together we will be kicking off 6 weeks of KartRider Drift action as we start our quest to crown the best KartRider players in the world. And I gotta say, it's a great day for KartRider. It's a great day for esports. It's a new beginning here at the KDL, and I cannot wait to get started.
Right, absolutely. It is such a blessing that we have just 6 weeks of so many matches coming up between our most talented players.
Yeah, and the opening match today, too, is going to be a star-studded roster. We have Liiv SANDBOX coming up against Sensation, 2 of the best teams in the world, facing it off in the inaugural match here at the KDL. I mean, it's a storybook beginning, and the future is very bright here for KartRider in Korea.
Absolutely. It is definitely our most featured matchup of the day. You know, there's a lot of history between the teams in Sensation and Liiv SANDBOX. The captains were pretty much compared to each other to be almost equal in skill. And last time, Hojun, who is the leader of Sensation, got the better of InSoo from Liiv SANDBOX. So we hope to see what happens this time.
Has a lot of rivalries that are carrying over here into the new game of KartRider Drift. I mean, launched earlier this year. I've got to say, it's been a blast playing this at home. I've been trying to execute some of the same turns, the same drifts that we see the pro players do on streams. And man, it's harder than it looks. I got to tell you that. So I cannot wait to see some of the pro plays that we see these players come up with as we get started. And as you said, rivals going head to head here to start things out, and it should be a fantastic day.
Absolutely. You know, you were telling me about your struggles with the drifting and doing it as good as the pros, and I so relate to that. You know, I feel like racing games definitely have a spot in esports as one of the most highly skilled competitive games. It's all about do or die. You need to keep grinding and remember these map layouts when exactly you want to cut a sneaky little shortcut. It's crazy.
Yeah, and there's a risk reward aspect of that too, you know. You want to go for that shortcut, but on a lot of these maps, especially in a game like KartRider Drift, there's penalties. You collide with a wall, you take a deep fall, things can go south very quickly, and I got to tell you, it's one skill that I certainly don't have coming from an RTS background, but it's just been so much fun to play, to watch, to learn this new game. And some of the players that we have playing here today are just straight up the best in the world. I mean, there's one story that is absolutely worth mentioning, which is the Emperor returning here to KartRider Drift. Will he have the same success that he did in the original KartRider? I can't wait to find out. Audience here absolutely packed. Everyone is so excited to get into the action here at the KDL. So many fans here. We have a packed stadium. And I cannot wait to get started, Peter.
Right, and we see a sign already for Moon Hojun comeback. People are excited, and there's another fan for Chae Young-hoon as well.
Yeah, fans coming out in droves here for the international audience watching. You should know that KartRider Drift here in Korea, one of the biggest esports, one of the longest lasting esports with an almost 20-year history. And here we go, the overview for the matches in the preseason.
Right, so today for the main stages, we have a match up between Liiv SANDBOX and Sensation. Following that will be Finale Esports going against ReBoot. And of course, there will even be a little bit more special lineup of Group A fighting it out later on.
Yeah, and the solo squads, 8 players enter, only 4 will advance to the round of 16 as we begin our march towards the postseason and that finals, as these players are all gunning for that 40 million Korean won grand prize. That is just under 40,000 US dollars. We're starting things up hot and heavy here to begin the KartRider Drift League.
Absolutely, 40 million won. That can definitely buy you more than 40 cards. So I'm sure these players are looking at that and thinking, that's going to be mine today.
Absolutely. Here we have the track list for Team Speed, of course. The team matches will be 2 games on Team Speed, 2 games on items. And then if we go to an ace match, it will be a 1v1 solo speed between the 2 teams' ace players. So the track list, 12 maps here. Gold Rush, Winding Slopes, Rookery Rails, Bayside Bridge Run, and many others. Some maps easier, some maps harder, some a little bit riskier to take those very efficient lines on. And I'm so eager to get into these games.
Right, there's just so many different maps and so many different players, so there's going to be a lot of different preferences, especially when you have a completely different track list for the item mode.
Yeah, another 11 maps here for the item mode. We got Motherlode, Magma Cavern, Pharaoh's Pass, Icebreaker Pass, London Night, Gangnam Streets, Polar Halfpipe, Cogwheel Crush, Brody's Glue, Mushroom Caves, and the Istanbul Sunset Plaza. So really a full palette here. A lot of different things to keep in mind, a lot of different maps that you have to practice. A lot of these players were interviewed heading into the KDL, and one of the questions that was asked of them is how often are you playing every single day in preparation for this tournament? And some players, I think Speed said in his interview that he was playing up to 10 hours per day, just grinding it out, getting ready for this tournament. And I gotta tell you, man, more than in an esport that's been around for decades, now that KartRider Drift here has only been out for a couple of months, the official release was, I think, in January, that practice is going to pay dividends. And that's a big reason why a lot of players here and a lot of people in the Korean community in general are talking about Speed as one of the highest potential players here to make a breakthrough in the KDL.
Right, and of course, we are showing you guys our today's matchup once again. To remind you guys, the first match will be between Liiv SANDBOX and Sensation, followed by Finale Esports and ReBoot. And then you can take a look below for the Group A. This is considered the Group of Death.
Oh yeah.
The biggest competition is here for the solo matches. There's InSoo, HyunSu, Striker, SeungHa, Cool, Luning, Spear, Glamint, so many famous and well-known players.
Yeah, a lot of these players could make it to the round of 16, the round of 8, and onwards. And it's kind of a shame that half of them will be eliminated tonight, but it makes for great television. So I can't be complaining, man. These games are going to be excellent. And once again, Liiv SANDBOX versus Sensation to start things out. You couldn't hope for a better match right here. A lot of these teams are saying that Liiv SANDBOX is the favorite to run away with the whole preseason.
Right. Pretty much every single team has voted Liiv SANDBOX to be the most likely team to finish first place this season. And it is no surprise when you take a look at their lineup. Coming in to mention Neil, for instance, he has been showing a lot of dominant performance lately.
Yeah, Neil from Chinese Taipei had a very early start to his career out there. The young age, royal roading a tournament out there, and then coming to Korea and doing the same many years later. As a lot of people call him the genius out here, as he has kind of a unique take on the game, can come up with some pretty creative builds, some pretty creative plays, creative lines, and man, I am excited to get into it.
Absolutely, here we go. We are bringing you guys the match 1 of the day. There you have it, Liiv SANDBOX. You can see their full roster right now. This is the team to watch out for. Everyone is looking at this man right now with his fan service.
Yeah, InSoo, HyunSu, SeungHa, Neil and Taemin. It's just a great team right here. You see Neil there giving the eye to the camera as SANDBOX. I mean, just fantastic. Jimin, of course. These guys said they were very excited to pick him up in the offseason.
Yep, I mean...
nice sympathetic wave here to the crowd as there's a packed audience here to see these guys play.
Jimin was known as the I Am Ace, but of course we have on the other side Sensation, and you have such a big figure here, the literal emperor of KartRider.
Yeah, Hojun, a lot of people are wondering whether he's going to be able to put his mark here on KartRider Drift the same way that he did the original KartRider, and I mean, it sounds like he is geared and ready to go. Like, listening to the interviews, he is playing a ton, and this team is confident enough to run with a 4-man roster. You know, a lot of these teams, they'll pick up a 5th player that specializes in either speed mode or an item mode, so they have a little bit more flexibility, but Sensation with the confidence just to roll with speed, guard, Hojun, and percent. I mean, that's a big move from them as the players getting ready at their posts, gearing up to play, and we're just moments away from getting into the action here. You see Neil there all the way to the end of the podium as everybody here seems more or less running a 6-2-6 build coming out of Liiv SANDBOX, and 6062 there for Sensation. And if you're wondering what that means, that is speed, acceleration, drift, boost speed and boost duration right there. And there's a variety of different ways that you can build it, but largely people tend to prioritize the boost speed, and then beyond that, the max speed there with the 6 points in speed. But a little bit of a difference there between the teams with, I think it was Sensation opting for a little bit more drift duration. So we'll see how that comes into play here in this first best of 5.
And we have Liiv SANDBOX with a message to Sensation, showing respect to Hyunsu, saying, welcome back.
Yeah, a lot of respect among these players for each other, of course, with an esport with as much of a storied history as Cartwrighter. These players know each other very well, and there's a lot of questions in terms of whether that skill from the original game is going to carry over here into Cartwrighter Drift. And you know, the games are similar, but no two games are identical, so there is potential for a lot of these young players to kind of come in and make a breakaway here in this new iteration of the game.
Right, speaking of the players, I want to touch back a little bit on the point allocations, because you see two different teams all running the same things within their team, but it's also opposite from each other. So as viewers, it is very interesting to see which one is the meta setter, because the team that wins is pretty much going to be able to say, well, we know Cartwrighter better.
Yeah, that certainly is something you could intuit from this. Sensation favoring a little bit more drift boost duration as opposed to the acceleration, and
It's similar.
we will see how that comes into play. But at the end of the day, generally the way this thing goes is it's going to be the raw skill that comes through. It's going to be the team that's able to take the best lines. It's going to be the team that's going to be blocking and setting up their leading players to get those pole positions that's going to walk away with a win here today.
And Sensation with the message saying, from today, my dream is to make it to the finals. See you there, Liiv SANDBOX. And what a saying. You know, one of the biggest rivals that Liiv SANDBOX mentioned having was Guangdong Freaks, but Sensation is straight up saying, nope, we are going to make it there.
Well, I mean, they certainly have the skill to do it. There's a lot of teams that have the potential to make it to the final, especially in a game as new as Cartwrighter Drift, you know? I mean, we have seen upsets in games so far past in esports history. You know, StarCraft 1 going into StarCraft 2, Age of Empires 2 into 3 into 4. New players rise up constantly. As we have the speed track list here between Liiv SANDBOX and Sensation, we will be starting on Glacier Extreme Stadium. That was Sensation's pick. Then Zigzag Timberland, New York Rally, Terracotta Twister, and Rickety Rails to round things out on map 5 if we do go to that ace match.
So it was actually Sensation that won the coin flip and was able to pick the Glacier Extreme Stadium for the first map. And what is interesting to note is that Speed, one of the mostly talked about players on Sensation, loves this map. This is one of his favorites, so we have to keep our eyes on Speed. How much can he show us in the map that he grinded the most?
Sensation gonna be really happy having that map pick there for Speed. And of course, the placement of the entire team matters here. Game is ready as Glacier Extreme Stadium is loading up. Players getting into the lobby, getting ready to go as we're about to have the first match ever here at the KDL. I cannot wait.
Here we go. We are bringing to you guys live Glacier Extreme Stadium.
And the countdown has started. Players are out of the gate. See Hoju immediately from the start going for some body blocking right there. And then getting bogged down a little bit there. Drifting just a little bit too close. And oftentimes this will happen at the start of a race with everyone in such tight contention. You see every single player trying to take the tightest possible line. Barely avoiding these pillars here in this straightaway.
Liiv SANDBOX is leading right now with HyunSu and SeungHa, but you look at behind, and Sensation is following right behind. Speed, this was his favorite map, and he's showing why right now, trying to go for cutting that first place.
Oh, but SeungHa is doing a great job of zoning him out as HyunSu's trying to increase the distance right now between him and the remaining players from Sensation. And here we go, coming into the hairpin section right now, a lot of tight turns coming up. Speed navigating this very well to Nitrous in the tank, and still right on the heels.
It's getting really close. You see Sensation, they want to cut Liiv SANDBOX so badly, and now this is the final lap, so this will be their last chance to do so.
Yep, Speed is right on their tails, but look at this fantastic zoning from the top two players here for Liiv SANDBOX. They are not giving any room at all. Hoju and Speed %, they've been hot on their tails this entire time, but unable to break ground.
Liiv SANDBOX now catching up even as a team. If you look below to the left, Liiv SANDBOX at 21 points right now, 3 points ahead of Sensation. Hojun has to take that first place.
Hojun Passing SeungHa there. It's very tight up here as we're getting ready to go into the hairpins yet again. 22-17 right now for Sensation as Hojun pulling into the lead. HyunSu, he's not able to catch up, but look at the bottom.
Sensation is winning now. If Hojun can keep up this lead, it is going to be absolutely huge.
HyunSu, he gets caught. He gets caught, and that's going to give the win right there to SST as they come with a fantastic finish there, winning the opening map.
You can see they're so happy right now. What a comeback. We kept talking about speed and Hojun, and these guys managed to pull it off. And you know what? I'm smiling with them. That was just excellent kart rider.
Yeah, that was some fantastic gameplay, and you can see right there, Hojun was trying to take the best possible line. New record 151 as, man, just fantastic play top to bottom. Sensation coming through with a map 1 win, 2 maps away from advancing here as we're going to see what the next map is going to be. Sensation Speed.
They are asking Speed to make sure that you can prove why you named yourself Speed. And if you cannot do it, then rename yourself to Item. Well, that's a bit savage.
I love that, Simon. I'm so glad your creed's much better than mine, man. I would have been left wondering, but that was a treat. What a wonderful cheerful here as we got a replay there of the finish. You can see HyunSu, he was trying to take the best possible line, but just barely missed it right there. Gets bogged down, and that just secures the bag there for Sensation as they walk away with a win. But, I mean, even if he was able to pass through there, Sensation just from top to bottom was playing so solid that I think they were going to come away with that win regardless. So they got to be feeling really confident here, getting ready to go into Zigzag Timberland.
Especially given that this was the map that Sensation picked themselves, it was important to prove why this map was so important for them. As now, moving into Zigzag Timberland, this is a map that's preferred by 2 players on Liiv SANDBOX. So will Sensation be able to prove themselves?
All right, the game is loading up. Forest, Zigzag Timberland will be the next map. Can Sensation repeat once again?
Cute little dancing. And now, the real match begins. Nothing is cute anymore. It's gonna get really bloodthirsty. Sensation leading out.
Yeah, Sensation with a fantastic jump there. He saw guard body blocking multiple players there from Liiv SANDBOX, and that's gonna mean Speed, Guard, and Percent are taking the top 3 spots here as InSoo gonna try and catch up here with these lines, accumulating as much nitrous as he can with these nice long drifts through these turns. You see how close these players are cutting it, just barely missing all these walls. Collision this game can take so much momentum away from the players, but look at how stacked this peloton is right here at the front. I mean, there's less than a fraction of a second separating any of these players.
6, now 7, 8 players are all toe-to-toe, trying to get what edge they can, but as you can see, each time someone tries to speed up, they're just getting blocked out by the players in the front. Sensation still keeping up a strong lead, but Liiv SANDBOX, they are definitely trying to catch up, still on their heels.
Yeah, Liiv SANDBOX hot on their heels, but the zoning from Sensation's been fantastic. And finally, no! HyunSu, he had a breakaway, but wasn't able to make the turn in time, and that's going to cost him a lot of momentum now. As Sensation fortifies their position here at the top of the podium. Percent, Speed, and Guard leading the race as lap number 1 is done. And InSoo, HyunSu, they're going to have to make something happen here for their team if they want to win this map.
They are known as the Park-Soo duo, and they need to prove why right now. However, Percent and Speed keeping up an excellent teamwork in the blocking. Liiv SANDBOX, they managed to break them two apart.
HyunSu and InSoo gaining a little bit of ground right here. HyunSu briefly stepping into the first place right now. Got a little bit of breathing room.
Liiv SANDBOX is now leading in points, 5 points ahead of Sensation. If HyunSu can keep up the lead, that means he can also keep blocking Sensation. So Liiv SANDBOX definitely has what it takes to take this one home.
Yeah, it's very close right now, but with Speed taking the pole position, 20-19, as just a couple shakeups here in the lineup could lead to one team winning. InSoo going to try and come in. Speed doing a great job of holding that first position.
This is so close. Sensation is leading only by 3 points, and it keeps going down to 1. InSoo coming in hot. Liiv SANDBOX taking a huge lead.
HyunSu and InSoo doing some fantastic job of Percent fights back right now in pole position, but will it be enough? 20-19. Liiv SANDBOX is going to take it by a hair there, and we're all tied up 1-1.
That was such a crazy lap number 2. It just kept going back and forth, and we just didn't know who's gonna win, and it was just by 1 point.
Yeah, 2019 tells the tale right there as Liiv SANDBOX with a much-needed win there on map number 2.
Yeah.
And that was about as close as it gets.
Much needed, especially because we mentioned earlier, there's 2 players on Liiv SANDBOX, both SeungHa and Jimin, who excels at the map Forest, Zigzag, Timberland, and they were able to once again show why this map was such a preferable pick for them.
Yep, next map is going to be New York Rally World Tour.
Yep.
We'll see which team is going to be able to come away on that one. 4 out of 5-star difficulties. It's one of the more difficult maps here in the speed mode.
You know, World Tour New York Rally is actually not a map, stated to be one of the favorites for Sensation. So it is interesting that they decided to go with that map. Perhaps, every player just feels comfortable on it. Maybe it's not their best, but everyone knows that they can do what they need to as we take a look at the replay.
Yeah, and man, this was such a tight race all the way here to the end. I mean, look at this. HyunSu and InSoo just a hair ahead from the pack.
Yeah, I mean, it was really, really close, but Liiv SANDBOX pulling it through at the last moment, really showing why it is important that you are constantly focusing as we seem to be getting ready for our next map.
Yeah, the action just keeps coming here.
World Tour.
Map number 3 is loading up. World Tour New York Rally. The players are loading into the lobby.
I like that statue. It's a cute little twist.
It's a very cute statue.
Yeah, I mean, that's New York right there.
Yeah, it is. All right. Squad speed, map number 3. Here we go.
And we see right now Liiv SANDBOX leading out, but it is the beginning of the match, so right now I'm sure that players are not too concerned. They're just going to be keeping up their blocks as much as possible, trying to stay grouped together.
Yeah, Neil right now ahead of the pack with InSoo and SeungHa right behind him. Percent's going to try and close the distance just a little bit, but it definitely seems like Liiv SANDBOX is getting the better end of this trade so far.
Absolutely. I definitely feel like it's been a while since we've seen Neil leading the pack. This was a player that we've had a lot of expectations for. Right now, being chased to the knee by Percent, this is really close.
Going through that quick little shortcut right there, as this is one of the more straightforward maps, which has me a little bit worried about Sensation here, as there's not a lot of room to pass, but InSoo, they were a little bit of a blunder, is going to make this a closer race than it was. A Sensation now only 1 point behind. If Percent and Hojin are able to close the distance, they're on Neil, who's one of the best individual racers in the world. Sensation might be able to come through with a round 3 win.
Yeah, Neil, but he is going to get almost taken there. In fact, he does. Percent, he's been on the toes of Neil forever, and now he's the one leading the pack as we see HyunSu and Neil. Oh my god!
Yeah, this is just a one-lapper, so we're getting pretty close to the end right now. Every single position matters. Hoju loses a little bit of momentum right there as Hoju is going to fall all the way down to 6th place, and Sensation, they need a little bit better than that.
Liiv
Finish line,
SANDBOX.
only 300 meters away.
They are just leading this one so dominantly. Every other match was pretty close, but this one was a whopping 5-point difference. The second Sensation hit the wall, I feel like that's when the game really turned.
Yeah, I mean, Liiv SANDBOX just had the better jump out of the gate right there. I don't know if it was the body blocking, I don't know if it was the line that they were taking, but they had the advantage from the very start. And on a map like that, it's not too easy to really make something happen because collisions are kind of few and far between, and there aren't too many hairpin turns where you can try and take some kind of greedy angle to pass. And so Liiv SANDBOX is going to ride that momentum from early in the race and secure yet another map win, as it's now 2-1 in their favor.
And I was able to actually catch a little glimpse of a new record for Neil there. I don't know if that means it's his personal best record of all time, but that is really crazy. And that moment right there was so unfortunate. It really set Sensation back when they really needed to get through these maps.
Another fantastic win there for Liiv SANDBOX, as we'll see if they're able to close this one out. Terracotta Twister is going to be the next map. A little bit of a trickier one here.
Yeah, I mean, Terracotta Twister is definitely a map that Guard really likes to utilize, and Guard is a player that we definitely have a lot of expectations for in that Sensation roster.
And Terracotta Twister, one of those maps where if you're able to take a greedier angle, a greedier line than your opponents, you might be able to save some time, but there are some risks, especially in the indoor section, as we see depicted here, where you can fall off the track and lose a ton of time. So interested in seeing how the players choose to take those lines here at the mid game as we're about ready to get started. Clock is counting down and the racers are out of the gate.
As we see everyone trying to just drift as much as possible in order to get that nitro boost going. As we see the players now really speeding up. We see Speed and HyunSu and Neil leading the pack.
HyunSu and Neil with a fantastic start again, but Sensation closing the distance a little bit here with Speed percent and Hojun holding the second, third, and fourth spot there for just a moment.
This is really close right now. Everyone is trying to gain whatever advantage they can, but however, this duo in Speed and Percent, these two players were mentioned as players that really stepped it up.
I think a player might have actually dropped there. I'm not sure if it was Speed who falls to the bottom of the rack. And now Sensation, once again, 20-19. They're going to have to hold this first place position if they want to win this race, as Percent falling a little bit behind HyunSu. Hojun also hot on the tails, fighting neck to neck with InSoo there, as Sensation just once again trying to close distance, and it feels like this has been the story here for Sensation for the past 3 maps, is just trying to catch up here in the mid game. Let's see if Liiv SANDBOX is going to budge.
As we see so many players just blocking each other out, allowing the two players ahead, HyunSu and Percent, just to pretty much have their own little 1v1. HyunSu definitely looking comfortable on this map so far. We haven't seen him blunder even once, but Speed, you mentioned earlier, he fell off the map and he's still at 8th place. He hasn't managed to recover and it's really setting them back.
Another close line right there for all these players, but able to successfully navigate it as you see the peril of potentially falling down there. And Percent, try to make a play to pass, but instead gonna get the tail out of that as Liiv SANDBOX in dominating fashion right now. First, second, and third heading into the finish line as this looks like another map win. 28-11, the final score is, man, that Hail Mary play for Sensation not working.
You can see, he's like, what's going on? Like, kind of having a good time. That was really great. You can see InSoo right there giving his teammate a little bit of a high five. And Liiv SANDBOX, what a team. They are fully living up to their expectations and showing us why they are the team that we were all looking at. Look at HyunSu.
Yeah, it feels like every single map, Liiv SANDBOX was playing a little bit better and a little bit better and a little bit better. And right now, they're certainly riding some momentum with a 3-1 map score here in the speed portion.
Liiv SANDBOX, such a dominating way to finish off their speed mode. And now, actually what's going to be coming up is potentially the item mode. And this is when things get really interesting because we mentioned earlier, Sensation has only 4 members. And their members are not known for being really great at item tracks. So Sensation, this is where they're kind of at a disadvantage. Will they be able to have what it takes to fight back?
Yeah, and Liiv SANDBOX here likely going to rotate out Neil for SeungHa. He is their item track specialist. As we're getting ready to go into Mushroom Caves. And, you know, in speed mode, every single position matters, right? Of course, in first place, you get the most points for your team tallying up there in the bottom left. But second, third, fourth, fifth, all that matters. If you're in item mode, whoever crosses the finish line first, their team wins the map. So there's a lot on the line. We're probably going to see a little bit more body blocking, a little bit more perhaps sandbagging as players try to slow themselves down, perhaps do really tight drifts to get multiple items at different stages in the game. And man, from what I've seen in item mode in general, just watching pro players stream and playing myself, it is oftentimes just absolute chaoses. Here we go, the item track list. Peter, take it away. We got Mushroom Caves first.
And then we have Glacier Icebreaker Pass up next, followed by World Tour, Istanbul Sunset Plaza, and then of course another World Tour, Gangnam Street. And lastly, Factory Brody's Gloom, which is a map that I have seen some players mention before as one of their favorites. So it is going to be definitely a really action-packed, going all over the place. As you mentioned, players not necessarily trying to all go past the finishing line. It can be more about teamwork in this one.
Oh, absolutely more about teamwork, even more than speed mode. And yeah, Factory, I love that you pointed out what a fun map it is, because that's one of my favorite maps to play on as well. And I was watching some of the developer videos where they talk about, you know, the work that goes into designing these maps and the whole lore aspect of it and all the different gameplay elements they want to mix in. And I mean, it just shows the love that these devs put into this game, and I feel like Factory is one of the cherry on top, you know? I mean, this is a cake with many cherries on it, but Factory is one of those cherries. Just love that map.
You know, State, I feel like you just sold me a product right now. Before, I wasn't too interested in this map in particular, but now I'm definitely looking forward to the map as we see some fans for Liiv SANDBOX coming in and a definition of the player guard.
Kariga Muin? Definition, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's saying that it means when you prevent the other player from scoring a goal in basketball, which I'm sure it works in Kart Rider as well.
Yeah, I mean, he named himself guard for a reason. He will likely be playing very defensively here in his quest to lead Sensation to an item victory here as Mushroom Caves is loading up.
This is going to be a absolutely just action-packed match because especially that this is, after all, the first item mode that we are going to get to see.
That's true, man. It's going to be absolute chaos here. All right, first item's getting picked up. I think that was HyunSu there with a shield. UFO in the pocket here, 4%. We'll see when they decide to use that. Actually, guard with a UFO as well, so Sensation with two UFOs.
Oh my god! Speed not being able to play the game, got all the way sent back.
Oh.
Water Wisp.
There we go. Percent getting taken down there by the Water Wisp, and Jinmin right now with a comfortable lead. We'll get hit there by a Water Balloon, and Percent taking it back. And this is kind of the story of item mode more often than not, is you just kind of see these players consistently trading places there at the top of the pack. But with Sensation having 4 of the top 5 spots, you've got to be feeling good about their chances.
You know, not even that, you really have to be concerned. If you take a look at the map to the right, you see just how far ahead Percent is right now. Liiv SANDBOX really struggling on this item match.
Yeah, a little bit. Is Percent Hojin right now in first place. Angel Guard coming in.
That's a big one. It's one of the most important items, but Jimin, he was so close, but gets knocked out before he's able to take a lead.
Yeah, Speed and Guard have been doing a fantastic job on the tail end here, on the Vanguard, so to speak, here for Sensation. Just kind of slowing everybody down as you see InSoo protected with an Angel Shield there from that Water Balloon. It's going to allow him to close the distance just a little bit. Timing on that Angel Shield, so critical here. It's actually, he picks up 2. That's a nice grab for him.
Yep, he's definitely going to be looking forward to getting the most perfect opportunity to use them, which is why he is saving them right now. Everyone on Liiv SANDBOX side trying to catch up to Percent, but how do you catch up to a guy that you can barely see?
Well, they're doing it. HyunSu and InSoo right now in first with some great item usage. Those Angel Guards coming in clutch.
Huge comeback. Oh, Hojin tried to go for it, but he gets knocked back. And Liiv SANDBOX, what a win once again.
Yeah, Sensation looked like they were in a pretty commanding position there to start things out, having 4 of the top 5 spots, but Liiv SANDBOX with some fantastic item usage there, not only taking pole position, which is the point that matters in this one, but taking 4 out of the 5 spots. I mean, that's just crazy performance from them. Liiv SANDBOX got to be feeling so confident, not only winning 3-1 on speed mode, but now here winning map number 1 on item as well.
I am absolutely impressed right now, State. Liiv SANDBOX, their focus has been so on point. It doesn't matter how behind they are in the early game or the mid game. You know, that final lap is where they really shine because you never know when they're just going to come and just put you back into 8th place.
Yeah, and whether you play in a solo item mode, you know, as a casual fan, or squad item mode, or even as a pro player, oftentimes, at least in my experience, you don't really want to be in that first place for too long, you know? It kind of puts that target on your back, and so Liiv SANDBOX just doing a perfect job of kind of navigating that distance perfectly, staying within striking distance from first place, and just relying on their item usage there right at the tail end to come through and secure the win. Fantastic play all around.
Right, and of course now we are ready for our next match, moving into Glacier Icebreaker Pass. And now this is a map that Sensation picked themselves. So will Sensation finally be able to put a dent into the invincible shield of Liiv SANDBOX? We're about to find out.
They certainly need to win here as the racers are off. Percent gonna be trying to pick up an item. Oh, actually missed one there.
Yeah, I mean, missing an item is absolutely huge. We see the bananas coming out to distract the players.
UFOs as well, as it's complete chaos here to start things out. Jimin gonna throw a banana himself.
HyunSu with the Angel and the Magnet. That's a lot of powerful items right there. We're seeing HyunSu actually just getting that first place, followed up by Percent. It's just going back and forth.
Yeah, and I don't think the position matters all that much right here. As long as you're in striking distance to the opposing team, as you see right there, Guard just kind of sandbagging himself a little bit, doesn't care too much about taking speed. Saw him crash into the wall to try to get 2 items at once.
Yeah, right now we are seeing players definitely at the back trying to salvage whatever really good items they can for the team. You know, you've seen earlier that double Angel coming in really nicely, and we see InSoo purposely slowing himself down.
Yeah, he was hit by that magnet, so he slowed himself down to prevent the opposing player from getting too much of a boost by that thing, as it does, you know, attract whether they're in front of you or behind you. And now Percent in first place with double shield is going to dodge 1 active ability now. Both shields down here for Percent, and Jimin taking the lead.
Yeah, I mean, the shields definitely came in clutch, but it doesn't matter if Jimin is in the lead. Now, Sensation needs to find a way to knock Jimin out, because this is going to be the final lap.
Yeah, and this is a dangerous position here for Percent, as you see HyunSu, SeungHa, and InSoo all right behind him there for a brief moment, holding positions 3, 4, and 5, as you see there. Does get hit by, I think, the Wisp, and now Liiv SANDBOX once again, HyunSu and Jimin holding the line.
Now it's just HyunSu. Hojin is going for it. He's at the first place now. Oh!
Yeah, these teams going blow for blow as Barricade's getting up. SeungHa going to avoid those right behind Hojin right now, as the Magnet will slow him down. And it's actually Guard taking first place right here with speed.
Oh my god, Liiv SANDBOX.
Man.
How do they do it time and time again? You look at him, he is so composed. InSoo giving the thumbs up to his teammates. The captain is satisfied.
You know, for a moment there, I thought Speed was going to walk away with it, but at the last possible second, Liiv SANDBOX coming in with yet another win. As these guys, I think they dropped, what, map 1, and then they have won, what is it, 5 maps in a row, 3 in speed and 2 in item. I mean, there's a reason why a lot of teams are saying this is the team to beat in this tournament. Because Sensation, let me tell you, they are no pushovers. Not only do they have speed, a very bright up-and-coming player here in KartRider Drift, but they also have Hojin, they have Gar, they have Percent. It's a strong roster, but Liiv SANDBOX, it just feels like they're on another level right now.
Liiv SANDBOX absolutely composed. You know, when players have the mental advantage, it does actually affect the gameplay. So they need to find a way, Sensation, to get some motivation back into the team, get the hopes high for the next map, which is going to be coming right up.
Yeah, Istanbul Sunset Plaza will be the next map. So players are loading into the lobby. Sensation desperately needing a win right now. Will they be able to pull through here on match point?
I really like the graphics of Istanbul. Man, I gotta go there one day.
All the graphics in this game are honestly just so beautiful. It's one of the things I was most impressed by when I started playing was just how gorgeous it really looks. I mean, it's just fantastic. Here we go, the races are off. Percent with a nice shield there, gonna be able to dodge that early Wisp as he's gonna continue to hold pole position for now. Speed passing him just there for a moment before he gets hit by, I think, a rocket.
I mean, players are just absolutely just knocking each other out right now, but it is the first lap, and in this map, there are 3 laps, meaning we are in for a long ride. We're going to be seeing a lot of crazy strategies come out of players. Definitely this time, not prioritizing perhaps being in the lead necessarily, just trying to stack the right items.
Yeah, we saw that from Liiv SANDBOX just a moment ago, as SeungHa, although he was the leading player on his team, slowed down just to pick up that extra second item there.
And you mentioned SeungHa as the specialist of the item mode for Liiv SANDBOX, right? And he's absolutely showing why, as we move on to the second lap, things are definitely going to start speeding up a bit more.
And things are looking fine for Sensation yet again, as they keep continuously holding top spots here in the lineup. But this happened both in Game 1 and Game 2, and Liiv SANDBOX, both those times were able to come back. So I'm a little bit worried here, as Liiv SANDBOX now in positions 2, 3, and 4, or at least briefly in 4, as SeungHa now drops down to 5.
You know, they look like hyenas just ready to pounce. That's what really just coming to my mind right now. And actually, Liiv SANDBOX did mention that their team strategy is to be a hyena.
Yeah, they're definitely a pack animal for sure right now. Working very well as a team here. as Glamint and to see if he can find something that happened. He does have that water balloon in the bag.
I feel like Liiv SANDBOX is just watching Speed right now. Hey, you can have your first place, but you know, this is the third lap now, so we're gonna really rev things up and get serious.
I'm liking this position for Sensation, though. I mean,
Yeah.
in just a couple of seconds, they're able to take the top 3 spots here in this lineup as SeungHa is going to try and slow them down. Wisp coming through. SeungHa right now with a magnet and a water balloon. If he's able to get a nice AoE hit onto Speed and Hojun, he can make it happen, but no. We'll get the Wisp there. Coming
Wisp is
through.
gonna be huge.
Yep, Hojun does get taken down, and right now Speed in pole position right here on the final lap. HyunSu and
Oh
InSoo,
my
though,
God.
actually passing.
Yeah, I mean, Liiv SANDBOX, they do it again right now. InSoo definitely putting pressure on Sensation. The Angel coming in at the right time to save InSoo. And Liiv SANDBOX, are you kidding me?
Man, a clean sweep right there, winning all 3 maps there in item mode. And it goes to show not only the depth of this roster, but what a value it is to have that extra 5th player who is a specialist on item mode, because SeungHa made some great plays there, providing space for his teammates, and their game plan from top to bottom just was ferocious. I mean, you could see them very often letting Sensation kind of take those early position leads on lap 1, on lap 2, waiting for their prime time to strike, and it worked every single time.
Every single time. You can just say that again to me right now. As you see, a just really satisfied Neil. I feel like Neil didn't even have to shine today. Of course, you know, he didn't have to play in the item mode. He is saving his strength, you know, for the bigger matches.
I like that idea. He's like a battery. You know?
Just charging up in the back.
Yeah, but I mean, on almost any team, Neil would be the best player, if not one of the best players, right? So the fact that Liiv SANDBOX has the depth in their roster to bench him, to put in their item specialist in item mode is just spectacular there. And you see it right there, 3-1 speed, 3-0 in item of Liiv SANDBOX will be winning the opening match here at the KDL.
Right, we didn't even get to a set 3 ace solo mode because there was no tie between the two teams. Liiv SANDBOX just looking so great. They were not worried at all throughout this whole entire match today. Sensation must be feeling down because I know Sensation voted themselves as the most likely first place team of the league. Liiv SANDBOX coming in second. So Sensation definitely got to do some work, maybe review teamwork and what they could improve on.
Yeah, that is one of the benefits, I think, of playing arguably the strongest team in the tournament first, is that you're going to be able to learn a lot from that match. I mean, yeah, you're going to walk away with a loss today, but you can go back, you can watch the VODs, you can see the lines that Liiv was taking, you can see the way that they were playing in item mode, and perhaps you can pick up some of their strategies, some of their lines, some of the ways that they were working together as a team and adapt that into your play for the rest of the tournament.
Right, perhaps one of those strategies could be pick up a strategist, you know, specialist in these roles. Item mode, it has been mentioned as the weak role for Percent and Speed, which were 2 players coming in with a lot of expectations on them. Kart Rider Drift was a game where they suddenly started shining more than the original Kart Rider. They were just being looked at by all these players, but unfortunately not being able to show up in the item mode.
Yeah, it does take a little bit of a time to adjust to a new game. And of course, as you said, going from a 4-man roster against a 5-man roster that has an item specialist, they didn't look too bad against Liiv SANDBOX there in speed mode. It was a 3-1 map score, but the maps did feel closer than the score might indicate if you're just looking at, you know, the final results. So I think a little bit of work in their item game and their speed game, I feel like they're still strong enough to beat a lot of the teams here in this tournament. They've got a bright future ahead of them. And just a fantastic opening match here.
Right.
At the
and
KDL.
Going back to some of the history in Kart Rider, I want to touch up on that rivalry we mentioned earlier between InSoo, the captain of Liiv SANDBOX, and Hojun, one of the biggest players in Kart Rider on the side of Sensation. Last time, Hojun won against InSoo in the 2020 Kart Rider League Season 2 playoffs. This time, InSoo was able to come in and say, Hojun, it's my turn now.
Yeah, the Emperor has been dethroned, but perhaps only for a moment as Sensation. Their future is still promising. You know, we were looking over at the player, the stat sheets and, you know, the interviews and questions that were asked to the players before we went on broadcast today. And a lot of the pro players, not only on these teams, but on other teams around the league, were saying that they think speed has perhaps the most potential, at least the most untapped potential for any player that's playing in the league right now. And he did seem strong here in these first opening maps.
Right. I mean, we can't forget that when you're going against the best, you kind of start to look not as best because, when you have two best teams fighting against each other, it's really knee to knee, toe to toe. And honestly, I can't wait to see more of Speed. We definitely haven't seen enough of this guy. And I'm pretty sure that once we give him more matches, he's just going to be speeding across the track and, no name change will need to happen. And like the fan said,
He'll be living up to his name.
yeah, give
Yeah.
him some time.
Absolutely. And I mean, we harped on it earlier, but Liiv SANDBOX just an absolute powerhouse right now. You were even mentioning that some members of the Korean kart rider community were describing this as potentially the perfect team, an
Mhm.
all-star roster from top to bottom.
Right.
And they certainly proved it today against Sensation. I mean, what was that 6-1 map score? I think after map 1, they were just completely churning out nonstop domination. And even at moments where it seemed like it might be a little scary for them there in the item mode, where Sensation was able to take, position 1, position 2, position 3, heading into the later rounds, the later laps, it seemed like Liiv SANDBOX just had an answer for it every single time. And that kind of consistency, I mean, if it happens once, you might think it's a fluke, but 3 maps in a row? I mean, they've got some keen strategies coming into this.
That's why we have 6 weeks. This is not a short,
Yeah.
elimination round. Unlike the group matches we're going to have later, these teams, they're definitely here to stay and prove to us, more of what they prepared. And honestly, I really enjoyed getting to see some of these maps play out today. You mentioned to me about some maps requiring a little more control around your drifting, knowing when to take the shortcuts, a bit of a riskier move, which could be a bad thing to do, right? When you're in the lead, so you want to just take a safe route. But, I mean, there's just so many strategies and depth to the kart, which is why it is such a pleasure to now bring over this grace, this gift to the global viewers.
Yeah, and I gotta say, I mean, the mechanical skill that comes into playing this game is absurd. when I started learning this, it's like it's the arrow keybinds, and you got your shift to drift and stuff like that. It's like 7 buttons. How hard could it possibly be? And then you try to do it, and it's just absolutely impossible. But guys, we're gonna go to a quick break. When we get back, more kart rider action. Don't go anywhere. And we're back here at the KDL. I'm State. With me, of course, is Peter. We just had a fantastic opening match between Liiv, SANDBOX, and Sensation. But now, we're getting ready to go into match number 2. Finale Esports versus ReBoot, the second team match of the night. 2 up-and-coming teams, and should be fun one to go to.
For sure. I mean, these teams are definitely a bit of a rookie lineup in the sense that we haven't seen these players prove themselves yet too much here in the Kart Rider League. Of course, we do have some shining figures that, you know, we can already see on the screen. Some of the players, they look just ready.
Yeah, they absolutely do. Both these teams have a lot to prove. Finale Esports, if I'm not mistaken, was... Oh, I love it. Love it. Come get me, he said. Love the energy. Finale Esports was, I believe, the last team actually to qualify here for this league. So a little bit of an underdog coming in here, even into this match against ReBoot. They've got a lot to prove, not only to themselves, but to their fans, to the Kart Rider esports community in general. And ReBoot, a little bit more of the same story.
Right, and there's a fan for Hyun, which is going to be our player Yoon. So I hope Yoon sees that and gets a little bit of energy boost.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Always a good feeling when you see the fans supporting you there in the audience like that. As ReBoot now stepping onto the stage, Load, Diding, Kosu, and Luning.
I mean, these players are not as, you know, showy and flashy with their entrance, but they definitely looked calm and composed, which is definitely really important to have because you want to make sure you are setting yourself up for the best, and they just look really composed right now.
Yeah, we cannot, of course, forget about Pure either. The item ace on that team, these item aces, as we saw in match number 1, often critical to their team's success. Can determine who wins and who loses in those often chaotic and highly strategic item race maps.
Right. I mean, IM Ace, it is a term that comes from the Korean community, and we will touch into that a bit more later as we see some of the really interesting tactics.
Yeah, and it's about as standard as it gets here. Everyone running 6062 here in speed mode, which is pretty much as vanilla as it gets, but no surprise there. We are seeing some interesting karts here a little bit. Generally, the meta here in Kart Rider Drift in speed mode is you want to try to focus on karts that are smaller because with a smaller hitbox, you can kind of go ahead and take tighter turns. You're a little bit less prone to colliding with opponent karts. And we'll see how that comes into play as we've got a little bit more of a diverse array here of karts for these players.
Right, and we're going to get to see a little bit into ReBoot, but I really liked the comment from Finale saying, go and reboot. I feel like it's such an appropriate comment to throw at your opponent, not too disrespectful, but also a nice taste of humor.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think we're actually looking at the item lineups here, if I'm not mistaken, as we see some interesting tactics here from ReBoot, heavily prioritizing acceleration over speed.
Right, I mean, that is definitely an unseen tactic so far, definitely the first that we've seen, so it's going to be really interesting as we see ReBoot coming in and saying, Finale's members are getting weaker, are they really heading towards the end? Wow.
Fighting words right there. I mean, prioritizing acceleration there in the item build, it's not too crazy. You think about the way these item maps play out, and oftentimes you might get hit by a water balloon, by a UFO. Something's going to cost you speed inevitably in every single race, and so having that acceleration stat maxed out to be able to catch up before the next item hits it can be a winning strategy. It's not unheard of. We certainly didn't see it there in match number 1, but we'll see how it plays for ReBoot here at match number 2. But before we get into that, Peter, the speed track list.
We love reading the track list. There's Desert Construction Chaos as the first map picked up by ReBoot themselves, followed by Glacier Extreme Stadium, World Tour Terracotta, Twister, Forest, Zigzag Timberland. We've seen this one earlier.
Yeah.
And Desert Pharaoh Pass.
Yeah, Glacier, Terracotta, and Zigzag making an appearance yet again, as these are not only fan favorites, but pro favorite maps. Very fun to watch.
Right.
And should be a blast, and I'm not really sure who in particular to look out for among these two teams. I know that everyone here in the lineup really has something to prove.
Right.
And what I'm most interested in is seeing whether any of these individual players are actually going to be able to stand out here in the speed, or if it's going to be mostly these teams prioritizing teamwork as we head into map number 1.
As we see some really nice cheer pull from the fans. Moving into our next map, it is going to be Desert Construction Chaos to start things off. I am really excited for this.
Absolutely. All right, Desert Construction Chaos is loading in. Map number 1, Finale Esports versus ReBoot. And here we go. Looks like Finale Esports with Striker getting a pole position there right at the beginning, but ReBoot fighting back very quickly here. It's Striker and KOSU here at the head of the pack.
Right, I mean, this is going to be the speed match, so it is absolutely important that you are keeping that lead this time. Striker and Yoon, right now, they are ganging up on KOSU, so here comes Luning to the rescue.
Yeah, this is a tight race from top to bottom, and you see both Yoon and Luning also right behind these players. Top 4 in this podium. Very tight gears. We have some technical turns coming up. Very tight drifting here.
Right, KOSU with the blocks, constantly preventing Striker from moving up. The blocking is the same.
Yeah, the blocking's fantastic there. Striker with a little bit of a mistake, but he's able to recover quite well there. Does lose some momentum as we come into this slow pass. Oh my goodness, from Luning. That was some fantastic body blocking right there. Really taking the wind out of Striker's sails.
Right, ReBoot is feeling so good right now with KOSU ahead. However, we look at the points, and of course, Finale is trying to catch up. They are behind by 9 points right now. This is the final lap, so they need to step it up now.
KOSU and Luning right now in a comfortable lead, but Striker is gaining in. Will Luning be able to body block again? You see him try to go for it there. Taking very tight lines, trying to anticipate the line that Striker's going to take as we have a bit of a collision.
Right, collisions, they can definitely impact the game quite a bit as we see ReBoot still maintaining that insane lead, more than 2 times the points ahead. Now, Finale trying to catch up a bit with Yoon in 3rd place.
Yeah, but ReBoot just feels like they're in complete control right now, and with Luning giving KOSU so much breathing room, KOSU, he's basically in time trial mode. Doesn't have any opponents he needs to worry about. It's just him working on his lines, playing the nice conservative races. Yoon, he's struggling to catch up, but the distance between these 3 racers is huge.
At this point, I feel like KOSU and Luning are fighting for rank 1. Just like, hey buddy, let's set a new time record. They're drifting beautifully, just in unison.
Yeah, fantastic race there. The tag team combo of KOSU and Luning there, especially with Luning's body blocking, just worked to perfection there. You see Striker and Yoon from Finale, they both tried to pass at various moments, but Luning just in complete control, great situal awareness, and that's going to be a very comfortable win.
Right, and Luning was a player definitely mentioned a lot by other players as the one to watch out for, as we see a new record being set by Luning, an impressive time for sure. And now, here we see the results. There is going to be that score going over for our team ReBoot.
Yeah, ReBoot with a very comfortable win there. They've got to be feeling quite confident, but after this, we're heading into Glacier Extreme Stadium. What do we got here, Peter?
Kart Rider drifts KOSU. GOSU will play a match with you. GOSU means pro in Korean.
KOSU also means cilantro, little known fact.
Oh, nice. I learned something today.
I love my cilantro, man. All right, Glacier Extreme Stadium is loading up. Will Finale Esports be able to close the distance? And off we go. All these players boosting right here from the start. You see Yoon from Finale going to try and get some nice body blocking there to get some freedom for Striker, and it works. Striker already in a comfortable position as Yoon now. Kind of taking the same line that Luning did in the previous map, playing defense there for his teammate, but look at this, Peter. Ding, he's closing the distance.
Ding is definitely looking to try to break the invincible shield right now. Finale being so composed, staying ahead, 3 members up there, and now ReBoot KOSU is now showing up to the picture. Ding, you're doing a great job. Let me help you out, buddy.
Yeah, Ding still hot on the tails here of Striker. These players are going to try and take the best lines they can, but Ding really has to watch out for Yoon here in these hairpin turns, as Yoon's going to try his best to block and collide. And you see Yoon already cutting in front. Fantastic cut drifting there. Able to make those nice sharp U-turns. Here we go, load, oh. He's going to be able to make the pass. It's Striker right now. Look at that comfortable lead that Yoon's body blocking gave him.
Absolutely fantastic teamwork coming out of Finale. Load trying to do whatever he can, but Striker does have a good lead right now, so perhaps he could use a bit of help from KOSU, who is following right behind. Get Taemin out of the way, and Striker is the target next.
And almost any time you see type hacks like this, with Taemin and Load there colliding, those collisions, they're going to cost you momentum. You're not going to be able to take the best line that you want. So Striker, he's just going to be able to play this a little bit comfortably, and the onus is here for ReBoot's Load to try and close the distance despite Yoon hot on his heels.
Right, actually the bigger problem right now is not even Load getting the first place, but if you take a look at the points, Finale is just so far ahead. Ding and Luning in the back, they need to catch up and give some breathing space to Load.
All right, Finale line is coming up as Finale's going to take map number 2 and tie this up 1-1 with Striker having a massive lead there to close things out. I mean, that felt like it was almost a 1-second gap between him and second place, which I gotta tell you, Kartrider Esports in Korea, that's a pretty sizable distance. That was a nice win there for Finale.
Finale definitely making sure that they are not coming into this tournament one-sided, giving that punch right back over to ReBoot. Oh.
Love a little finger wag there.
And
Striker.
wow, new record.
1/8 of a second there for Striker. On the way with first place as Finale's going to tie this up 1-1 here on Glacier Extreme Stadium. Feeling good about that win. All smiles here for Team Striker.
Absolutely loving it right now, feeling themselves. They definitely need to continue that momentum towards the next map, because we are tied right now and we are looking for a winner.
Yeah, heading back to Terracotta Twister, and for the map score 1-1, kind of wonder how these guys are going to be playing some of these lines. This is one of those maps that we talk about as a little bit riskier to take the most optimal possible line.
Yeah.
So sometimes if you get this, like, say map 3 and a team is really far behind, they might play really greedy, but here 1-1, you gotta be safe.
And players are definitely going to try to play safe as we head into World Tour Terracotta Twister.
Everybody ready to go as the racers are off. We'll see who gets the better part of this exchange. Is Taemin going to try and do some body blocking, but actually Ding and KOSU
Leading out right now for sure, as we see ReBoot 25 points against Finale's 15. So Finale definitely speeding things up right now. We see so many players just toe to toe.
Yeah, look at the breathing room that Ding has already. His teammates did a fantastic job of really giving him that space. His Striker, the speedster from the last map, going to try and close the distance here with KOSU hot on his tails. As we have a quite even spread. ReBoot, despite having pole position, only 3 points in the lead.
Definitely.
Oh, this is the dangerous spot you talk about, man.
Yeah, I mean, you call
It's
this
so
one Stan.
tricky.
You look at those drifts, they're just right on the edge. You never know when you're going to fall. And right now, ReBoot is leading strong, 3 point ahead. Ding has not been contested once so far.
And luckily for both teams, however, I think it was both Yoon and KOSU that went down, so it wasn't as though one player lost 2 to that fall. It's still a very tight race with Ding just a hair ahead here of Striker, who's going to try and draft him the best he can. Get those little tiny speed boosts to close the distance, and I mean, these two are pulling away from the pack.
This is the final lap right now, so Striker definitely needs to pull up whatever he can. The perfect drifts,
That
the
was
perfect
a beautiful
boost,
line.
beautiful lines, you name it. It needs to happen if he wants to dethrone Ding and give his team the little edge. Finale behind by only 3 to 1 point right now.
Just a fraction of a second separating Striker and Ding here for first place. Is Striker now in first. ReBoot with a 21 to 18 point lead as we're getting closer and closer to that finish line. 500 meters away here as ReBoot look to be in a commanding position to win map number 3.
They're getting close, and as you said, ReBoot, it looks like they're gonna just take this one straight to the home. What a showing by ReBoot here, showing that the team they do not need to get first place as long as your team gets second, third, fourth, and sixth.
That was fun. It was a lot of fun. And Terracotta Twister, one of my favorite maps. There's always a little bit of drama, you know. Every single map, somebody's going to fall down, taking that line a little bit too greedy or getting hit by a collision, getting a little bit off course there. And fantastic win here for ReBoot as they go up 2-1.
Yeah, I mean, ReBoot, this was the team that had a little bit more expectation coming in because of the players they have. There were a lot of players who haven't really proved themselves yet, but were really known to be good. And today, they definitely showed some of their prowess. Their driving was excellent. The line was beautiful. Just really well played.
Zigzag Timberland going to be the next map as we have a quick recap over here. I think this is KOSU and Yoon, if I'm not mistaken. When they bungle this turn, you see they a little bit too greedy there. Both fall down into the Terracotta. And as I said, luckily for both these teams, it's not as though one of them lost, one team lost 2 players, you know. It was a bit tit for tat there, but just goes to show the fine line you have to walk, especially on maps like Terracotta, between the most optimal line and potential disaster.
Absolutely. As we head into another map for us, Zigzag Timberland in the forest, I am excited.
Racers lining up. ReBoot right now on match point here for the speed portion of this match. But Yoon and Striker with a nice lead here to start things out. Oh, said that too soon. Luning and KOSU, look at that.
The replay on that block was so insane. ReBoot definitely having such a huge lead right now. You know, when you have 3 players at the very front, you know that you're in a good position.
Yeah, especially having 3 on top allows you to give a little bit more room for body blocking there as we see Load trying to give Luning some space, kind of let him activate some time trial modes here. But Striker does not want to let that happen. He is hot on their tail. But with this Draconic thing, he might be getting the speed bonuses he needs to pass, but just look at Load just towing the line here, not giving him any room to maneuver.
This is what happens when everyone's a pro, because even if you play really good, so are your opponents.
Striker is able to pass Load now. Only Luning stands ahead of him. As Finale Esports with Vanilla and Taman at the bottom of the pack, gonna try and make something happen, but no. Collision there, and ReBoot taking the top 2 spots quite convincingly here as Striker losing quite a bit of momentum.
This must be so frustrating for Finale right now, not being able to cut in the edge of the race. If you take a look at the points, ReBoot is just sitting so strong right now, and this is the final lap. So Finale, you have to pull something out.
Yeah, and it's got to come from the bottom right now. Taman, Vanilla, and Striker, they need to close this distance. It can't just be Yoon taking first place. The entire team needs to maneuver up, as Yoon will be able to pass Ding there only for a moment as Ding maneuvers right back. Some fantastic body blocking. I mean, look at KOSU over here on the back foot, too, keeping Striker and Taman at a distance for the longest time.
Right, KOSU being just so proficient with the blocks. Finally, one member from Finale Esports moving up, giving a little bit more of a close point range, down 5 points right now.
Yeah, Luning and Ding right now in both position 1 and position 2. Oh, Ding with a little bit of a collision there on the wall. It's going to make this a closer race, 22-17 right now, as we're getting closer and closer to that finish line here on lap number 2. Will Finale be able to catch up?
Oh no, there's only 300 meters left. Finale, you have to do something crazy.
Not quite able to make it happen, and ReBoot going to win map number 4 and secure that 3-1 win in the speed mode.
What a showing from ReBoot, looking super clean. You know, I feel like that is the concept of today. We haven't had any really close best of 5s. These teams making sure to show their practice in action.
Absolutely, and now heading into item mode, I wonder if ReBoot's gonna be feeling even more comfortable because they're able to swap in their item ace, Pure, and they're able to use this kind of unique build that a lot of other teams haven't been rolling with max points on acceleration here in item. I can't wait to see what they have in store for us.
I mean, it's crazy. These teams keep having more and more hidden trump cards coming out. Although they are already ahead, it is definitely seeming like a tough task as we see Jung Seung-in player who likes banana, I missed you.
Yeah.
I missed him too.
Banana will also be coming in here for a finale in the item map. As they definitely need to win here to force that ace match.
We want to see it, right? We have to see it once.
Vanilla will be the player swapped out here. Banana coming in. And boy, does Finale need a little bit more confidence coming in after a 3-1 loss in speed mode.
And it is definitely going to be a big morale boost, especially for Banana. If he comes in and all of a sudden turns things around for his team, it's going to help boost his confidence. And, you know, when you're playing confident in games, it definitely shows and leads to some good results. As on the other side, ReBoot also going for that switch you mentioned.
Yep, Pure going to be swapping in here for low. Pure is well known as an item specialist, so both these teams going to try and use the full depth of their roster to bring out that trump card, as you said. Will be Banana for Finale Esports and Pure for ReBoot, and I can't wait to see these guys go toe-to-toe against each other.
It is definitely going to be some classic kart rider drift action. This is what all the fans have been waiting for. Korean fans, global fans. Now we are all here gathered together to witness the item tracklist.
Yeah, Mushroom Caves is going to be map number 1. That was Finale's pick, followed by Motherload for ReBoot, Brody's Gloom for Finale, Icebreaker Pass ReBoot, and then if we go to map number 5, it will be Pharaoh's Pass.
We are definitely going to see why do players like Forest, Mushroom Caves. This has to be a map that was definitely first picked, right? So there's extra meaning to it. The players, it could be their comfort pick. It could be overall a map where they just practice the most on.
Yeah, that is an interesting point. That was the first map pick in the previous team match as well, right? I mean, Mushroom Caves, it's a solid map, but I do wonder whether the bans come into play here too. I mean, there's so much depth that comes into like swapping in different players, in addition to having a map draft with bans, where it's difficult from an outsider's point of view to know exactly what the game plan is and what the logic is behind these teams picking and banning each individual map. You know?
Yeah, I mean, we understand one thing: if it's banned, then it's probably for a good reason.
Yeah, that's true. Certainly true. All right, teams are getting ready. Forest Mushroom Caves going to be map number 1 here as ReBoot looking to close this one out. Let's go to Forest Mushroom Caves.
Here we go, the race starts. This is going to be the deciding moment for Finale Esports. Definitely looking for some performance out of Banana.
Yeah, we'll see what Banana's able to bring to the table here. Is this guy, at least from the interviews, I've heard he has a lot of character.
Character, personality, he's got it all. Of course, we see Finale going for the strategy of slowing down, picking up items, because this is the first lap.
Yeah, just holding tight in the middle of the pack. We saw this work quite well earlier in the tournament for, I believe it was one of the other teams. And now KOSU here holding on to the Angel Shield. ReBoot holding positions 2, 3, 5, and for a moment there's 6. So midfield kind of hotly contested right now. Yoon is here at the front, but you see he does have KOSU right on his heels. And in item mode, it's not like speed where the body blocking really comes into play. It's more about the way these items are utilized and the critical timing that they come in to determine who's going to win.
Right, I mean, Yoon wasn't even drifting in the front there, so he was just, you know, holding down the accelerate button, but not necessarily the boost. But of course, this is the second lap now, so players are definitely going to start bringing out their strategies.
Luning and Ding right now, hot on the tails of Yoon, as keep in mind, it's the first racer to cross the finish line that's going to be the winner, not only for themselves, but for their whole teams, as both teams desperately need a map win here. Ding gonna try and close this distance. Yoon with a nice shield there and also dodging the barricade at the same time to flex the rocket. As lap number 2 getting closer and closer to the finish line. Ding, what did he pick up? It looks like it was another shield from Yoon.
Good reaction speed by Yoon. Keeping up that first place.
Oh, the Nitro! The Nitro coming in from Ding, and he pops the shield, and he's gonna be the first one to cross the finish line.
What a combo!
ReBoot picks up a great win there. Yeah, what a combo to close things out, man. It's about as good as it could possibly ask for. As it seemed for a long time, Yoon with his shield usage there was going to be in a commanding position, but just did not go his way.
Yeah, Yoon was playing out of his mind pretty much deflecting every little distraction that came his way, but ding, he just turned on the magnet and the boost, and that was enough to win his team that match.
I mean, a boost gives you a lot of speed, but a boost plus some magnets. Like, oh man, we're going, and it's like
we're
Star
zooming.
Trek, like hyperdrive or something, man. Like, you're just zooming through space at that point. And ReBoot gonna be very happy with that win, and fantastic play there coming out of Ding.
Right, so FNL definitely feeling a bit down given that they lost the speed mode. Now in the item mode, they definitely want to pick up some pace here because Banana, we know this man, he's the guy for these item modes. He's going to be able to show us what he has for the next map. It will be Mine Mother Load. I cannot wait to see this map. This map is going to be definitely different from the Mushroom Caves.
Yeah, for sure. And you gotta wonder what the game plan is gonna be here for Finale Esports. They desperately need a win. So we'll see what's gonna go on there as everybody's getting ready.
Right, players getting ready for the game. Of course, this is a good time for us right now, State, to actually get ready to move on once again to the next map, Mine Mother Load. Oh baby, show me that map.
The players weren't quite ready. And here we go, Mine Mother Load Finale needing a win here. All right, racers are off.
To a great start, you know, just slowing things down. Of course, the first lap is being utilized as pretty much the lap where you pick up items and synergize with your teammates and form strategies.
Yep, yeah, you're trying to go through the shortcut there, but hit the wall and lost a lot of speed. Gonna fall all the way there to 8th place right now. But Finale, despite that, gotta be feeling pretty good. You know, Taemin, Banana, contesting top 2 spots right now, but it is a hotly contested field here as Kosu's gonna come over here, take another shortcut over here on this mine track. And that boost is gonna give Banana quite a bit of zooming, but the UFO comes in. I'm not sure whether that got deflected. Banana does have a shield in his bag.
Right, as we take a look at the items on the teams right now, we don't see any Angel. We don't see the highly contested items that players usually want to pick up.
ReBoot had like 6 nitrous per moment there. I wonder if that's part of their strategy, just making those coming into lap number 2, but here we go. Banana gonna come over here with that jump, contesting with Kosu here for the number 1 spot. Barricade pops off and both players will dodge it.
Right now, players are once again just getting rid of the items, the more unwanted ones, to prepare for the 3rd lap, where things are going to really kick up and start to get spicy.
Yeah, oftentimes in item modes, everything coming up to that final lap, it's all about posturing, right?
Right.
We saw that just in the previous match where the final usage of items in the last key moments of the map are going to be what determines who secures the win. And Luning going for some fancy drifting there. He's got that nitrous in the bag as well. The leading racer here for ReBoot as Finale holding a lot of these top spots.
Banana was in the lead there, but Taemin was able to take that lead back. Currently, Finale Esports is looking really good. They just need to keep Taemin in the lead, looking for definitely more of those shields and angels to protect their leading player.
And we'll see exactly how this one's going to shake out. Now, Yoon not only being in the lead, but also does have a nitrous as the finish line is 500 meters away. Yoon's going to save that nitrous. He falls back a little bit, take a target off his back, and then he nitruses across the finish line for the win. Fantastic execution there by Yoon. Going to secure the map win there in the most meek and humble bow.
That was really, really well played by you.
That was awesome.
Perfect execution of that boost. It just really all of a sudden changed the tides of that match.
He had that nitrous in the bag, and he knew that he could just hold on to it until that last key moment to speed across the finish line. And yeah, just beautiful play there by Yoon as Finale is going to tie things up here 1-1 here in item mode.
Absolutely. This is what we want to see, right? Some of the closer matches coming in State. We do want to see that punch back and forth, and we can see the players are also happy with it right now, getting that motivation up for the team.
Yeah, Finale's got to be feeling a lot better about that. You do not want to go on to match point after losing the speed mode races at the beginning of this match. So Snap is going to be Factory Brody's Gloom. These players getting ready so far. They seem quite evenly matched here on items so far. I'm liking the plays that we're seeing out of both sides.
Absolutely. I mean, the strategies have definitely been paying off as we get ready to go into our next map, Factory Brody's Blue.
All right, here we go. Racers are off. First time seeing Brody's Bloom here, I think, today.
It's definitely a funky map. I dig it.
Oh,
With
it's got nice vibes, man. This is one of the most beautiful maps. I love the color scheme they have added in here.
For sure. As we see, of course, this map does have only 2 laps instead of 3. So it is going to be a lot faster paced, meaning players have less time to gather their desired items. But this one is definitely going to be very spicy.
Laps are a little bit longer, but we'll see exactly how that's going to shake out right now as KOSU holding the pole position, but as we've seen time and time again, that only goes so far as you see just kind of slowly coming through, and these players going to dodge those obstacles as UFO will pick up Banana, I think, as now it's Taman in the lead. KOSU hot on his tail with his shield.
As we see players, none of them have the Angel right now on the side of Finale Esports. Only ReBoot has that available. So now, going into the second lap, how is that going to snowball? Finale, they do have Banana in the lead.
Yeah, but I feel like it's really, oh no, getting caught up by the Roomba there. As he cleans the floor. And Banana right now does have a comfortable lead with Yoon actually right behind him. So that's a nice spot here for Finale. One of the ideal situations unless ReBoot's able to use some great items and close the gap.
Banana absolutely ahead right now with double shields, ensuring that he won't be able to keep that lead up.
That's a lot of momentum gone there for ReBoot as Finale right now holding the top 3 spots. And we've seen teams come back from this before, but ReBoot, it feels like they might have their work cut out for them, especially with Pure getting caught there by the Wisp as well. Banana with double shield. Yoon and Striker with a Nitrous as well as the finish line only 300 meters away. Will Luning be able to pull a magic trick yet again?
Luning!
Oh my goodness!
That was so crazy. He pulls it off at the last possible moment, bringing another win yet for his team, ReBoot.
Man, I was so confident that Finale Esports was going to be walking away with that map, but Luning, yet again right there, the combination of the Nitrous and the shield, just kind of pulling the rug out from the opposing team and walking away with yet another win.
We have
Great
absolutely seen Nitro being such a huge impact so far in these item modes, especially if you save it for the last moment. It can really turn around clutch situations, and that is exactly what we saw from Luning here.
Absolutely. I mean, if you're able to get the invulnerability from the shield and couple that with a Nitrous, and you're in position to contest the end of the race, there is phenomenal comeback potential, as we saw in the last 2 maps. And I mean, just great utility usage there from Yoon. You look at the scoreboard right there, and you got to think that Finale is in complete control of the situation, but Yoon just coming up with a masterclass play.
Right, I mean, we're just taking a look. This was the moment as we saw the crazy amount of speed suddenly coming out for Luning, and Finale players were just left behind to pick up the dust.
Yeah, Luning, just phenomenal stuff right there as a ReBoot. Feeling pretty confident right now. That was a great win there by them. So we're getting ready to go into Glacier Icebreaker Pass. It's 2-1 now in favor of ReBoot, if I'm not mistaken.
Right, and Glacier Icebreaker Pass is a map that we are definitely familiar with coming right up. More Kart Rider action being brought to you live.
Racers are off here. Icebreaker Pass, we'll see exactly who's able to pick the best items.
Right.
He does get hit there by a Wisp. Striker in pole position with 2 shields, but as we've seen many times over, it's really more about the way these things line up in the mid game. Lap number 2, lap number 3, what items you get, and what position your team is set up in the field. So,
Absolutely.
for now, just kind of taking it nice and slow and easy, as Luning looks like he's going to be the top gunner here for ReBoot.
Striker, he has mentioned that Glacier Extreme Stadium is his favorite map, and he is also known for his name, literally quite, He has the playstyle of a very aggressive player. He likes to strike at people. So I am definitely placing a lot of expectations on Striker to pull through for his team. Got that double shield, used one up to try to refresh the item status.
He definitely does seem to be one of the faster players here on this roster, and Finale's trusting him to take the pole position, so to speak, here, as he is their player in striking distance.
Right? I mean, this is absolutely building up right now as players. They are on their second lap with the third lap approaching soon. Angel being picked up by ReBoot, 2 players holding on to it. Finale also has one of their own. This last lap is about to spice up.
Yep, Banana right now holding on to both the Nitrous and the UFO is Ding and Luning. In first place right now, you with some nice speed, gonna be able to take first place, but he does have that magnet, which does not help you up too much from the podium. And ooh, taken out by an item there, but look at this. Pure actually right now has 2 Angel Shields.
That's gonna be big. You know those Angels can come in really
KOSU
big.
is double Nitrous as well. They might try to wombo combo this just a little bit. We'll see. First Nitrous coming in here for KOSU, gonna pick up another item. Barricades do get taken out. Angel Shields coming in, finish line so close, and Striker's gonna walk away with it.
They were so close, but Striker coming in as the guy we were looking at. Striker, you know, this was his best map, and we clearly saw why.
Yeah, and I love that setup there by both KOSU and Pure. KOSU there with the Nitrous and Pure holding on to the Angel Shields, but Striker was just a little bit too quick for them. Barely sneaking away with a win there, and we have a 2-2 score.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely looking really close. Item mode definitely looking evenly matched between our 2 teams here today, as we see just how much impact Banana and Pure has been able to put in for their team since, you know, being subbed in as the item mode specialists.
Yeah, and those specialists are so critical. Oftentimes we don't see them there at the front of the pack, but that's because they're hanging down, they're going slow, they're picking up as many items as possible to support their team in any way they can, and we almost saw that there at the tail end of that game with Pure with the double Angel Shield. That's a pretty hardy item set to have to support your teammates.
Right, and I love the Nitrous, you know, it just adds such a nice little kick to our races.
Nitrous critical not only in speed mode, but also in item mode.
Nitrous for the president.
As we get ready, Pharaoh's Pass will be the last map here of this set.
Here we go, the deciding match for both teams, ReBoot and Finale. This is definitely going to be a lot on the line. As we see, players are really just evenly matched right now, making sure that they can rush towards the item boxes and start filtering through them.
Banana right now in the lead, going to be picking up items bit by bit. Yoon right behind him as Finale holding all top 3 spots with Striker also coming in and just trying to deny these items from ReBoot as best he can, even opting for them with a full item inventory just to deny.
Right, we have Pure just trying to pick up items, not really trying to contest Finale much right now. I really wonder what is the game plan for Finale here. It does feel like a lot of their players are sitting at the front, so we saw a player go back down.
I actually don't know how he got so much speed, but he just sped past everybody before getting caught by a UFO there and sent back to whence he came.
It's crazy, man. These speeds, it's just hard to keep up with.
Item mode is just absolute chaos, man. I love it. You see these players trying to take very, I don't want to say inefficient lines, but you see them hugging the edge here because they don't want to get blindsided by any water balloons coming out. It's very rare that you'll see them just kind of sitting here in the middle of the pack, and they will get caught there by a UFO. Does speed right back up there as Banana and Striker are just barely ahead of him.
Right now, this is going into the third lap. This is where things kick up as we see Banana. Really nice itemization there. He is going to be feeling confident blocking out some of the other distraction items.
Yeah, look at the item set right now here for Finale. You, both with a shield and Nitrous, we've seen that combination win games right at the tail end of a race many times over. As you see him just kind of holding on to those for now. Doesn't want to use them too quickly. Only wants to use them if he needs to.
This is looking dicey for Finale. ReBoot right now coming in with 3 players contesting top 4. Oh my goodness, Temin! Where did you come from? But KOSU is gonna go to KOSU! locking in that win for ReBoot. That was extremely close.
Another photo finish there, and ReBoot's going to walk away with a win here in item mode. And one of the most exciting item modes I think we've had so far today. I mean, every single map was so close, and it felt like it came down to the wire every single time. There's so many surprise finishes there, and just a fantastic performance, frankly, from both of these teams. But ReBoot going to be walking away with this one, 3-2 map score. KOSU barely edging out Striker by a fraction of a second, literally almost a tenth of a second.
Right, and KOSU, he does consider his own playstyle to be a bit of an all-rounder, definitely showing up here today. Congratulations to ReBoot on this excellent victory.
Yeah, Pure doing his job supporting the team, KOSU coming in.
Again, it's
right
the
there
same
at the end.
circle. KOSU. KOSU is
KOSU
KOSU,
is
man.
KOSU.
Exactly. we know the same thing there. KOSU is indeed.
Yeah, man, that Cheerful predicted it. So we get an instant replay of this. Look.
Oh, so close.
So close. You see the other players from Finale trying to slow him down right there with the magnet, but just barely not enough. Literally a tenth of a second separated KOSU from victory and defeat, but he was able to come away with it in spectacular fashion there. As ReBoot walking away with Pharaoh's pass, and man, what a fantastic match.
Right, I mean, item mode definitely has been a bit of a more slow-going approach compared to the speed mode, but this definitely made me an excited fan of these item modes because we see the Nitrous being so good.
Yeah, ReBoot winning 3-1 in speed mode, 3-2 in item mode. They will be very happy with this victory here, especially on the first day, the inaugural day of the KDL. It's going to be something that this team coming in here, they had something to prove, and they're going to be happy about this performance.
Absolutely. No teams made it to set 3 today at all. All teams are going home early today to either reflect on their losses and learn from their opponent, or learn even into what they did good and what they need to replicate next time, coming into more matches.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I guarantee that every single team that came up to play today, win or lose, they're going to be watching these VODs. They're going to be analyzing lines. They're going to be discussing amongst themselves what they can do better. And they're going to be even stronger when they come into their next match. And, it's a marathon. It's not a sprint here at KartRider Drift. It's 6 weeks of action. So these players, they're going to do everything in their power to continuously improve.
Absolutely. Speaking of doing everything to improve, I just want to shout out Ding, because Ding says his average practice time is just always, except for sleeping time. Like, how?
Yeah, I remember.
Does he eat?
Yeah, I remember seeing that in the sheet too. He's the one who wrote down like the infinity symbol when they asked him how often he's practicing, right?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
good stuff. That's exactly how you go about making yourself better. Practice just makes you better. Like, I don't know, like, have you experienced any of that in your KartRider Drift experience so far?
I'm practicing. I'm not sure I'm getting better. Maybe a little bit. But certainly in other games. I mean, I played StarCraft 2 competitively. I currently play Age of 4, I can't even say the game. Age of Empires 4 competitively. And I can tell you that the time that you sink in into practicing, it doesn't matter if you're winning in practice. It doesn't matter if you're losing in practice. If you're investing that time and you're taking a kind of learning approach as a player, trying to improve nonstop, you will get better at that game. And I mean, Ding, as you said, he's taking it very seriously, practicing nonstop, especially the launch of a new game like KartRider Drift, released this year. That is how you do it. That is how you become one of the best of the best. And maybe he won't reach that stance today. Maybe it won't be in 3 months, but 6 months from now, 1 year from now, there is potential. I mean, in StarCraft 2, when the game launched, in the very first GSL tournament, we saw the birth of legends, Fruit Dealer, MVP, OGSMC. Those players were there from the very beginning, and they made history. And I guarantee you that the players that are competing in this tournament right here today will eventually become legends in KartRider Drift, and they're going to do it through practice.
That is absolutely what's exciting about esports, because you always have great legends that have made such an impactful, scene in the esports, but new players every year, they can still continue to add to that legacy, make sure their name is known. And what I really love about KartRider is that this game is absolutely fun. It's always changing. There's so much diversity. It's not like you can practice a map 100 times and just expect it to be the same experience, just trying to become a better robotic player. It's not that. You're having fun each time you're grinding with all these different variables.
Yeah, and it's not just time trials either. I mean, even if in a vacuum you can run the perfect line and get the best possible race score, that's not the way it works in tournament. There are 7 other players in that lobby. There are going to be collisions. You're going to have to block other people. They're going to be trying to block you. They're going to be trying to mess you up and make you lose momentum. So there's not only just that raw mechanical skill, but a lot of intuition that comes in being a top player, not just in Kart Rider, but in any game. And that's one of those reasons why practice, like Ding is doing, is so critical, because you don't get better at those things without investing the time. So right now, it's really kind of a seminal moment, I think, here for Kart Rider Drift Esports, and I bet you a lot of the players that are competing today, even in these first 2 matches, have very bright futures ahead of them.
For sure. I can't wait to see more of them. Speaking of tomorrow, we're already going to get so many different new teams, and even today, we still have more matches.
That's right.
And the format is even going to change. It's going to be a point system now going in, where players are going to be constantly racing against each other. It's not going to be just a simple best of 5. It's a matter of who is more consistently getting that first place, which is definitely, I feel like, one of the most competitive aspects to Kart Rider Drift.
Yeah, of course. I mean, the team portion of today is ending, but after the break that we go to in a moment, we're going to be back with the solo Kart Rider Speed Racing, which is personally what I'm looking forward to the most. I love team games. I love team play, but for me personally, I think 1v1, that's where legends are made, FFA, like being the best racer out of a stack of 8 racers, especially today with Group A, the group of death here in this tournament, it's going to be very thrilling to watch.
I absolutely agree with you. I think most people would agree as well when we talk about preferring that solo match over maybe like a team. Because if you rely on a team, there's so many other variables outside of just your own skill. And I feel like getting rewarded for your own results is what makes practice perfect. And now we'll be back for more Kart Rider action in no time. Don't go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen.
Amber's in the building, oh, yeah, yeah. Yeah, relax your mind, baby, let me take you on a ride, yeah. That twinkle in the sky reminds me of your beautiful smile. I can't get enough of you, no, baby, you're my sunshine. This is a journey of a lifetime. Sit back and enjoy this wine. I've been searching around the world for a girl like you, but you're one in a million. I've been waiting for someone like you, love. That's that one in a million. Baby, let me love you a long time. Love you for a millennium. For you, baby, there's nothing I won't try. Yeah, relax your mind, baby, let me take you on a ride, yeah. That twinkle in the sky reminds me of your beautiful smile. I can't get enough of you, no, baby, you're my sunshine. This is a journey of a lifetime. Sit back and enjoy this wine. You've been through a lot in the past, so you got your walls up high. You've been hurt in the past, baby, let me feed your heart tonight. Let me give you what you need. Leave the past beyond. I wanna give you everything, good loving, baby. Yeah, relax your mind, baby, let me take you on a ride, yeah. That twinkle in the sky reminds me of your beautiful smile. I can't get enough of you, no, baby, you're my sunshine. This is a journey of a lifetime. Sit back and enjoy this wine. Yeah, relax your mind, baby, let me take you on a ride, yeah. That twinkle in the sky reminds me of your beautiful smile.
Hello everyone and welcome back to the KDL. I'm State, with me is Peter, and we just wrapped up the team portion of today. And now it's time for us to get ready for Group A, round of 32 in the solo match.
Solo match is a whole new world of kart rider drift, and basically the elimination is now going to be in play. So if you mess up, you know, it's really brutal. You're not going to have a good time with your mistakes. This is where you really got to make sure you're composed, because there will always be such a good chance for you to get kicked out when there's 4 players above you.
Absolutely, it is very cutthroat here in the solo match. In our group of 8 players, the bottom 4 will be eliminated. It is a race to 50 points. And at the end of the day, well, not technically the end of the day, at the end of the preseason, the champion will receive 10 million Korean won. That is close to 10,000 US dollars. So a lot on the line as these players try to take the first step towards that championship trophy here in Group A. And Peter, why don't you tell us about the track list?
So for solo match, we definitely have a nice variety of maps. But first, let's go into the point system, because this is what really sets apart solo match. So for the rank points, first place, second place, third place, you can see the different variety of points that people get.
Right.
If you don't know what retire means, that means once the first place player goes through the finish line, there's about 10 seconds before you need to make it to the finish line as well. If you don't, then you retire and lose a bunch of points.
Yeah, retire is DNF, did not finish. So the onus is on all of these guys, not just to place well, but to be consistent. Because if you're getting first place and then you're getting 5th and 6th and 7th, that first place really doesn't do you very many favors. You want to be consistently in the top of the pack, at least top 4 if you want to secure a spot. Ideally, heading out of Group A, going into the round of 16. And here we see the round of 32 bracket, of course, today. The 8th Saturday, Group A, we have InSoo, HyunSu, Striker, SeungHa, Cool, Luning, Sphere, and Glamint. I know a lot of people were wondering how you pronounce ZZZ.
Right, so ZZZ, it sounds like a sleeping sound effect, right? And in Korea, you pronounce it as kur, kur, like.
You said that in about the cutest way possible.
Well, you know, people sleep in a variety of different ways.
Yeah.
And
it's like the Korean onomatopoeia for like the sound of somebody sleeping, right?
yeah.
So yeah, ZZZ, that's cool because he wanted to make an ID that's cool. And if you ask me, he did. That's pretty creative.
Yeah, I mean, definitely putting a lot of thought-invoking mechanisms even into his nickname. I do respect that.
It's a brainy guy. Got a lot of wrinkles on that noggin. We see everybody getting ready here for the Group A match. InSoo, Seirun Shijaka, new beginning, as he is hoping to come through with a win here in Group A. And you see his kart build right there, 5 on speed, 1 on acceleration, 6 on nitro, and 2 on nitro time. A little bit different from the standard 6062. So prioritizing acceleration just a little bit. Like, it's good, it's good, it's good. I can see him trying to listen to me there. It's good, I'm not saying it's bad, it's just a little different.
Right, and he finished in first place in Group 7 to qualify up here, and that is definitely a shiny spot on record you want to have.
Yeah, that is why he is Seed 1 coming into this one with the gold color flag, and here is HyunSu playing with a little bit more standard 6062 build right there on his cart. Everybody here, with the exception of Luning, is rolling with the mine cart here today. And opening match but members are final bosses, is his saying.
It's definitely true because Group A, we mentioned earlier, this is the group of death.
Yeah.
Every single player here has shown so much. And of course, we have Striker, another one of them.
If you're ranked below me on the board, you better reflect on yourself. That's brutal, man.
That, I mean,
I'm a Striker fan now, man. Forget about InSoo, HyunSu, everybody else. I want Striker to walk away with this group. That's...
can't really say much to that, right? He's
that's
right,
beautiful.
Though. He strikes at home. And of course, Striker, another player that did finish first in this group, having
Love it.
a spotless record.
Just fantastic stuff. These players got a lot of personality, a lot of skill. It's the finals, and yeah, I mean, this is the group of death. A lot of players here in this 8-person group could easily be going on to the round of 16, the round of 8. As I said earlier, it's kind of a shame that half of them will be eliminated, but it's going to make for some great drama here. As SeungHa also rolling with a 6062 build, getting ready himself.
Definitely one of the more popular meta builds that we have seen pro players use a lot.
Yeah.
So I hope to see some good results from SeungHa with that build.
Yeah, it's, you know, your bread and butter. 6062 and speed is about as standard as it gets. I mean, speed is literally everything. So of course, max your max speed, max your boost speed. What else are you gonna do? And oh, it's actually, we don't even need to explain it. It's not ZZZ, it's cool.
There you go.
Yeah.
I mean, he did not finish first in his group, but that doesn't really matter too much because we know Cool as a player historically to have been super strong, as we see a bit of a different upgrade part. Tell me about
just
that.
a little bit. So instead of 6062, he's gonna optimize nitro time just a little tiny bit over speed. So maybe confident in his drifting abilities to fill that nitro meter, or maybe really wants to try to make some big plays on the straightaways, as that's where nitro is often most useful here, especially if you're going for 6-3 on nitrous.
And Cool's fan was supporting him there with a nice little message. And of course, Luning is now coming in. NYC Tour Bus is the future.
It's a top tier. It's a top tier cart. I mean, it's not like you pick a cart that's just better than every other cart. That's not really the way it works here in Kart Rider Drift. But as we were talking about earlier in one of the team matches, generally the meta, especially in solo play, is you want to have one of the smallest possible carts to minimize potential collisions. You know, you want a smaller hitbox to be able to take tighter corners, to be able to minimize the chance of you impacting with a player. And the mine cart, one of the smallest carts in the game. New York City Tour Bus also quite small. And here we go. Here is Spear. 506-3 build for him as well. Fighting today too.
Spear is a player that is known for basically spearing his opponents. That's how aggressive this guy is.
Spearing his opponents.
Yeah, I mean, as brutal as that sounds, that is what I heard about him.
Yeah, well, he's a warrior. Spartan warrior right there, Spear, getting ready to come out. Ideally in top 4 here of KDL Preseason Group A, the group of death.
As we see that Spear symbol coming in, the fan drew a really nice representing icon of him.
I love how many people have come out to see, you know, the inaugural matches here of the KDL. It's fantastic to see the support for this game here. Have a live studio audience. It's just a great feeling, man. Nothing beats it. And wow. Do you know the feelings of someone who received a death sentence while enjoying the joy after a dramatic advance to the main stage.
Wait a minute, you lost me there, State.
I was hoping you were understanding because I'm a little...
That is a very deep quote and one that I cannot relate to right now, but okay, Glamint, you do you.
The Edgar Allan Poe of this lobby is Glamint.
Absolutely, as he's rocking that 6-0, 6-2 as well.
Yeah.
Going for the standard bread and butter that has proven time and time again. As we see here, a fan of Glamint gave the win victory.
Yeah. Well, Glamint, one of the underdogs coming into this one, but it's going to be a fantastic match. I've been looking forward to this all night. Solo matches are my bread and butter, my favorite. I cannot wait to see the drama unfold of every position mattering and crowning a 1v1, or not 1v1, but an individual race champion here today in Group A.
Right, and I want to point back on what you mentioned earlier, State. Talking about solo match, it is incredibly important that you are consistent. It is not about just the first place. It's more about how consistent are you up in the top 4, because even if you are first place, the next time you might get 6th place, 5th place, and your points will really start to snowball a lot slower than your opponents.
That consistency is key here. If you're finishing every single race in the top 5, you're probably going to advance from this group. Maybe not in first, but you're probably going to make it. So a lot of these guys, we'll have to see what they do, because you know that some of the underdogs that are in this group, they might be trying to take riskier possible lines or going for a little bit more collisions to hold other players back and try to play to that advantage if they're not so confident in more of their, how should I say, raw racing skills in terms of taking the tightest corners, the most efficient routes between the lines. And I just can't wait to get started, man. I mean, all this build-up, I'm getting hype.
Speaking of rookies, Glamint is definitely the main rookie that we are looking at here today.
Yeah.
Given that this is the group of death, most players here are so well developed. So Glamint, I wish you the best of luck, my man, because soon we are about to have our next map ready.
Yeah, everybody's getting ready as map number 1 of the solo match will be Mine Gold Crush. Let's get to it.
Here we go. This is going to be really important. You know, the snowball of getting the lead. Cool right now, coming in ahead.
I absolutely love that starting move there from Cool. He instantly jostled to the left and was able to get kind of almost a boost there by bumping into these opponents, and that's going to have him firmly there in first place right now is Luning right on his heels.
Right, while Cool bumped out of the way of everyone else. Unfortunately, we saw SeungHa bump into the wall, so struggling to keep up as we see Luning taking over Cool.
Yeah, but these players are neck and neck right now, and of course you're able to get that boost just by tailing the opponent there with the aerodynamics. You see those nitrous bars just continuously fill up. These guys are so good at filling those bars with nitrous, maximizing tension, getting the most possible value out of their drift, as they're all going to come down here through the shortcut with Luning in first, but HyunSu, look at him in third. He is contesting for one of those top spots.
Striker trying to come into the picture, but Luning and Cool are way too far ahead right now. Striker getting blocked a bit out by HyunSu.
Luning with a fantastic maneuver right there, able to pass Cool on the outside, but Cool comes right back there on the inside, taking a very tight corner here. And between HyunSu, Cool, and Luning, whoever's able to take the tightest corners and get the best utility out of their nitrous should be able to pull away from the pack, so long as they don't suffer any collisions. And right now, that player is Cool.
Cool had such a beautiful draft there. Look at him going once again for the perfect drift. This is the final lap, so Cool needs to keep it up if he wants to lock in that first place.
Yeah, these final drifts are going to be absolutely critical here, but HyunSu pulling into first place right now with a couple of meters ahead of him. 500 meters. 500 meters away from the finish line is Cool is struggling to try and pass HyunSu. And no, HyunSu gonna walk away there with first place, rack up 10 points right there. Cool right behind him, followed by Luning, SeungHa, Striker, InSoo, Glamint, and Spear in last. And that's a fantastic start there for HyunSu. You know, I mean, for the beginning there, I thought Cool and Luning were going to be neck and neck the whole race, but HyunSu just came out of nowhere.
Right, I mean, that's the crazy thing about these solo matches. Everyone is so neck to neck with each other in terms of skill. And you can see that even though all our players played so fantastically, it's not even their best record. How much better can they get than what we just saw?
And look at the difference between first and second. I mean, it's off the screen now, but it's once again a 1/10 of a second. And the difference between first and eighth, it's about 1 second. So that just goes to show how much skill is here in this lobby and how hotly contested every single race of these is going to be, because any single one of these racers, even the rookie Glamint, they all have a chance of walking away with any single one of these.
Absolutely. Glamint, he did struggle a bit in the previous map, finishing at the 7th place, but definitely as we move on to the next map, he will have another chance to show himself, as well as Spear, another player that we keep mentioning. He has so many fans for his unique playstyle, spearing his opponents. I am sure we will be seeing that here on this map.
Yeah, coming out with a 5063 build as well, a little bit more boost heavy than some of the other builds. Especially more than the 6062 standard build for Spear. It didn't work out for him there on that map, but looks like Ancient Aqueducts is going to be map number 2. A couple long straightaways here, so we'll see if he's able to get some more utility out of that.
Right, I mean, the map absolutely looks confusing, so I wish the players the best of luck as we move into Desert Ancient Aqueducts.
All right, engines are revving and the racers are off. We'll see who's able to pull away from the pack first.
Oh, everyone is so close right now, but we do see InSoo leading very slightly.
A little bit of snake drifting right there to build some early nitrous, and look at how tight this pack is right now. SeungHa able to get a bit of a lead. InSoo and HyunSu right behind him, but there's only a fraction of a second separating even first from 8th right now.
HyunSu looking really good after last match coming in, still maintaining that first place. Even here, as we see InSoo and Spear now fighting, trying to look for that break into HyunSu.
Yeah, there are quite a few opportunities here to take greedy lines and try and pass your opponents on this map. You see how narrow these passages are. There's certainly some play to be found as InSoo and Spear, they continue to close the distance here on HyunSu. InSoo actually getting the lead there. There's a bit of a collision there with a wall, but luckily he was able to bounce back and hit both Spear and HyunSu. But Glamint, the rookie, is coming out to play, and look at how close this race is.
Now all of a sudden there were 6 players, and now it's back to 3. You can see this little slight differences in the drifting making such a huge difference for our players right now. Cool, all of a sudden trying to get that first place locked in.
InSoo trying to build a little bit of tension here with these snake drifts to try and catch that nitrous up, be able to close the gap between him and Cool. HyunSu looks like he will be passed here by InSoo, and man, it is so close here at the top of the pack. Final lap here as we only have maybe a kilometer left to go.
Cool, he is staying ahead by the tiniest bit of hair, but he has been excellently blocking the players behind him in HyunSu and InSoo. The question is, can he keep that up as he builds a bit more of a lead for himself?
Oh, a little bit of a collision here in the middle of the pack, and that's going to give Cool a little bit more breathing room.
500, 400.
These players are going to need to make a miracle right now. They're going to pass Cool. Some more collisions coming in, and Cool going to comfortably walk away with first place, but the pack behind him was so tight.
And we saw Spear coming in at 2nd place this time around, completely turning it around from the previous match. As we see the points, you know, once it comes in, I am sure we're going to see a big fluctuation in the rankings.
I mean, you know that Spear's better than getting last place there in that first lobby, and he went ahead to show it here, getting top 3 as well as Cool, Spear, and SeungHa. So, fantastic race all around. I mean, even with all those collisions at the end, what, a quarter of a second separates first and second? These players are just out of this world.
Absolutely, and there we go. HyunSu is now down at 2nd place, trying to play the catch-up game to Cool now, as we see the next map is going to be Zigzag Timberland, and many players have practiced around this map. I wonder how much different it's going to look in a solo mode.
Yeah, we see this in team mode all the time, so these players will be intimately familiar with it, of course. But the big story that I'm watching right now is InSoo, the #1 seed coming into the solo match today, finds himself close, if not at the bottom, of the leaderboard after the first 2 maps.
Right, I mean, InSoo is definitely a player we have a lot more expectations for, so can he step it up? That is what we are looking for.
All right, the players are getting ready. Forest Zigzag Timberland will be map number 3. Let's see if InSoo can start his comeback.
here we go into the zigzag Timberland as we see our players leading out. HyunSu and Cool once again staying in the lead. Looking real good.
Yeah, HyunSu with a nice lead right now, doing a great job of building up this nitros coming into these turns, but Cool hot on his heels. Man, Cool's on a mission today, as once again, he's contesting top 3 right out of the gates.
Luning also trying to get in on some of that action as we see a lot of great usage of the block from HyunSu. Luning is struggling to get ahead.
HyunSu doing a great job of body blocking the players behind him, but man, it is a tight race. As Luning spear InSoo, you got to think that at least one of these players will be able to find an opening to get past HyunSu, who is doing his best job to try and defend his pole position right now. Luning and spear hot on his tail. HyunSu only 1 nitrous in the bank.
Right, as we see a lot of blocking there coming in, sending 2 players back. Now we have 3 players in the front, Spear, HyunSu, and InSoo. Spear, all of a sudden, he came in and he's looking great. He just needs to get over the wall of InSoo.
InSoo and Spear able to make that pass right there. These boosts coming in clutch as they're taking the tightest possible lines they can manage. And InSoo right now, we were wondering whether he was going to be able to come back after a poor performance in map number 1 and map number 2, and here he is contesting first place in map 3.
Right, the consistency definitely starting to show in InSoo because this is a player we expect a lot from. And right behind is Cool, looking real speedy. HyunSu chasing right behind. This can go anywhere.
Yep, Cool. Looks like he's going to try and come from behind again to win. That was a dangerous line he just took right there with that drift, but it paid off as he's maintaining this tight difference between him and HyunSu.
Right, Cool at second place right now, going a little bit back into third place. All these players are thirsty to get better points for themselves, but InSoo is still in the lead.
HyunSu trying to hold on for dear life right now. So many players right behind him as Striker is going to be able to take the lead. Keep in mind, this is lap number 2, the final lap as we're beginning to come into some of these final turns. Hairpins coming up.
Striker, can you keep it? No, InSoo coming back for his first place. InSoo, I feel like, has been leading this race most consistently so far, and he is building himself a sizable lead.
Yeah, we'll see if he's able to close it out, and he does. InSoo coming away with first place. HyunSu and Striker right behind him. SeungHa rounding it out with 4th place, and man, InSoo really needed that win.
Right, and on the other hand, we have Glamint coming in at last place here. You know, Glamint is struggling a bit right now as we see, you know, the 3 top players, they can just carelessly dance. You know, be happy, celebrate. They're doing fantastic.
Absolutely, but I mean, no knock on Glamint. This is a group of depth, and coming in from a rookie to face off against these legends it's difficult, I gotta say. And even in the previous race, Glamint had a pretty good showing there. Just 1 collision really knocked him to the back of the pack, but as we see right now, HyunSu in first place with 21 points, followed by Cool with 17, SeungHa with 13, and InSoo with 12. Those 4 are definitely the favorites to advance from this group right now.
Right, I mean, right now, the points are looking a bit close between the 2nd and 3rd place and 4th place, while the 1st place is just way ahead. So we definitely need to see some fluctuations in the rankings here. We need to stop seeing the same players over and over again in the top 4 if players want to have a chance to take rank 1.
Absolutely, and you got to think for players ranked 5 through 8 that the pressure is on right now. You know, 4 is the cutoff. Only 4 players from this group will advance. So if you're sitting at 5th or 6th rank right now, you got to start making something happen because we only have, what, maybe 3, 4, at most possibly 5 races left. If things keep going this way, keep in mind it is a race to 50.
We are already halfway there, as you said, to that 50-point mark, as we have another exciting map coming up for you guys. It is going to be Glacier Snowbound Slopes, and I am definitely looking forward to seeing some more comeback action happening.
Digging this music, man.
Yeah, I mean, it's really good.
Sound design in this game is fantastic. All right, racers are out of the gates. We'll see if anyone's able to get some collisions to get ahead. And man, Luning, observer with a 6th sense, knowing that Luning was going to be able to be the one to get the head of the pack. Just see him navigating that perfectly. And now this is a track that is quite difficult as we see these players taking a couple hairpin turns right here, and they got to take them so tight to get maximum value.
Cool and InSoo once again in the top 3. these players have been so consistent, showing why they are feared in Kart Rider Drift. They are no easy opponents.
Yep, Spear right now, spearheading the pack with Cool right behind him. As now we're going to go into this downhill portion. These players will have to avoid these trees on their way down. Looks like Luning was taking a bit more of a right side descent there. As we continue to move on forward and forward to the ski lift.
And we see right now HyunSu, he is the leading member of this whole entire race, but in this map specifically, he is down at 7th place. So this does open up an opportunity for Cool, who is sitting at 17 points, to try to get a lead.
InSoo with a bad collision there is going to lose a lot of momentum there and knock him out to 4th as we have all these guys getting into the ski lift at almost the exact same time. Spear is in 1st place though. Luning right now coming out as well as the race continues here. 2nd portion of this map.
Looking really good right now. He hasn't had too many points gathered up so far, but this will definitely boost him up. So Luning, keep it up, man. You are keeping up a really good lead right now. He knows this map like the back of his hand. As we see SeungHa and Spear not too far behind, and there's Cool again.
That's a little bit scary here for Luning, though. He can't really treat this like a time trial with how close Spear and SeungHa are. He has to try and body block as best he can, as we see Spear just trying to barely edge his way past, but actually it's SeungHa coming in from the outside, able to get 1st place, and Luning fighting back. It is neck and neck here.
SeungHa and Luning, these two players have all our attention right now as they are so close. Luning keeping up.
Little bit of collision there for SeungHa, but Luning also with some collision. Man,
these players, they're going crazy.
They just keep trading out these spots.
SeungHa getting a nice lead. He may have this one if he keeps it up for 500 more meters. Luning coming in hot. SeungHa, can you do what it takes? Spear, InSoo, everyone is going crazy fast, and there we have it. InSoo locking in that 1st place finish.
That InSoo coming out with a win right there in 1st place. Spear, Luning, and SeungHa right behind him. A little bit of a weaker performance coming out here from Cool, so that might shake the standings up just a bit here.
Right? I mean, InSoo was sitting there at 3rd place in the overall point standing. So now, the interesting question is, can he move up into the 2nd place? Because he's getting 10 points, and that's pretty much the perfect amount of points you could ask for.
InSoo with a fantastic race right there. Moves him all the way up to 2nd place after a rocky start to the beginning of the solo match. He's going to be sitting happily with HyunSu, Cool, and SeungHa. But Spear at 16 points, just 1 point away from 4th place right now, as these guys are fighting for their tournament lives. Keep in mind, the bottom 4 players from this group will be eliminated from the solo portion of this tournament.
Definitely, you do not want to be the player to get eliminated off of 1 point difference, so I am sure we will be seeing Spear coming in real hot this match around. Of course, we are going to be ready with a new race soon. Go ahead and tell us the map.
Looks like it's going to be Desert Construction Chaos, and will we see chaos here as the solo match starts winding down to its end?
You know, this map is called Construction Chaos, so I am definitely expecting a lot of chaos here as our players get started. InSoo, he is keeping up the momentum from last round.
Oh, but Spear with a nice little pull-away right there. I mean, it's not so much that he won't be able to get caught up on as InSoo and Glamint. Actually, Glamint, the rookie, nice position right now here in 2nd and 3rd.
Right, I mean, Spear, this was the player that we were talking about. He was sitting at 5th place on the brink of getting exterminated, but now sitting at such a nice advantage over Cool.
Yep, Spear continuing to head the pack with Cool, Luning, and SeungHa right behind him as these players try to take the tightest line.
Wow.
I think Striker and possibly even Glamint actually had a bit of a collision there as those players, I mean, this happens when you're at the bottom of the pack. You try to take greedier lines to make up some ground, and sometimes it just doesn't go your way. So now Spear, Cool, and Luning fighting very competitively for that top spot, but no Cool.
Wow, that was a really big block there. Cool getting sent all the way out. Now all of a sudden, SeungHa is here trying to contest for the top 3.
I mean, this is what happens when you try to take the tightest possible lines. It really is a game of, I don't want to say chance, but it's a risk that you are constantly taking when you're going for these tightest, highly optimal lines, especially when you're not playing a time trial, when collisions are a threat, when blocking is a threat. You got to watch
Absolutely.
out for those wall collisions. I mean,
Wow.
the InSoo right there from 3rd place instantly drops down to 6th with just the lightest tap through on the wall. I mean, every single drift like this is hanging on a razor's edge.
You have to keep in mind, InSoo and HyunSu are both fighting for that 1st place in the overall point standing, so it's going to matter a lot where they finish, as we see HyunSu going really far up into 1st place, but then back down to 7th.
Yeah, there's been a lot of changing of ranks over here at the top of the pool, as this has just been a bloodbath. I mean, absolutely chaos. InSoo with a bad burnout there, and some other collisions are going to give Luning and HyunSu a bit of distance from the rest of the pack, as we have 500 meters to the finish line, Peter.
This is going to be Luning's match so far, so it is more of a matter. Wait, maybe? No, okay. Luning does get in that 1st place. However, we see that InSoo, he also got 3rd place, and he was contesting for that 1st place.
Yeah, HyunSu coming away with 2nd, InSoo in 3rd, and Glamint, the rookie, just kind of speeding out there a little bit at the end. Perhaps a little bit frustrated with his performance there. I mean, at the start of the race, he was contesting top 3, potentially top 4, but I mean, the consistency of these players, especially Luning, HyunSu, InSoo, SeungHa, Spear, and Cool, there's a reason why they're calling this the group of death. These guys take such tight lines, and if they make a mistake, it's oftentimes maybe just 1 per map, and with 1 mistake, you can kind of get away with that. But here we go, the standings. It is tight, man. Spear and Cool both at 19 points, tied for 5th and 6th place, only a couple of points away from that qualifying 4th spot, as we're going to be moving on to Terracotta Twister, almost a tongue twister.
Yeah, I definitely relate to you on that one there, as, you know, I like that you mentioned mistakes, because Cool, he's been a player that has been consistently contesting top 3, but he fell down, and now his back is against the wall.
It happens sometimes, man. I mean, you gotta just walk the razor's edge here if you want to compete, as we're gonna move on to Terracotta Twister. Will these players at rank 5 and 6 be able to close the gap?
See HyunSu sitting at 1st place, with InSoo following by with 27 points, so our eyes are definitely focused on HyunSu and InSoo right now throughout this race.
And InSoo already in a great position right now, holding the top of the stack. 1st place with SeungHa right behind him. HyunSu not quite with the start he would have hoped for.
But we do see Cool recovering. He is back in top 4, which is going to be great news for him, because he is contesting a really dangerous position with Spear right now.
Yeah, these are some really nice lines. No one really blundering any of these turns as we come into the more precarious position. It's SeungHa.
No,
oh
SeungHa.
no! He doesn't quite get knocked off the track, but he will be able to reverse and then come back into it, as SeungHa's going to fall all the way down to 8th place. And I mean, this is the big risk here. Every time we play on Terracotta Twister, this is something you got to look out for. And InSoo right now with a big lead.
InSoo definitely needs that, because InSoo is trying to take a point advantage over HyunSu, who is currently the leader of the board. As we see, of course, HyunSu not too far behind, so it is still possible for him to get 1st place.
Yeah, and if you're InSoo right now, you got to be thinking when you get back into that indoor section, are you going to try and take the greedy line? Are you confident enough to make it pay off? Are you going to take the risk of potentially falling, or do you play it a little bit more safe? And if I'm InSoo, with the distance I have between 1st and 2nd, I'm playing it safe, but we'll see what happens here as these players are entering the inner area.
The danger zone, as we call it. This
Oh,
is
Striker!
Oh!
Striker gets knocked all the way down to 8th place. InSoo navigates it perfectly, as everyone else is able to make this happen.
Absolute perfection indeed. InSoo really feeling good right now. 500 meters left as Cool is following up right behind him, but it seems like InSoo is going to be able to lock in that 1st place, followed by Cool, HyunSu, Spear, and Luning up to 5th place.
And man, I keep seeing this from Glamint, where the rookie is coming in and halfway through the race, he's in a good position. He's either rank 3, rank 4, rank 5. It keeps happening, and then whether it be on the 2nd lap or at the end of the 2nd lap, things just kind of tend to fall apart for him, and you can see the potential there, but just not going his way right now is InSoo with a fantastic time almost under 150 here on Terracotta Twister, is going to be very happy with that win, propelling him all the way to first place.
And you look at how close it is. InSoo and HyunSu sitting only 1 point away. Cool did recover. However, the gap is still not that big between him and Spear. He is only 3 points away from being eliminated. So players definitely need to get out their game of consistency right now where it matters.
Only a handful of points separating positions 4, 5, and 6. As every single gamer right now is fighting for their tournament life here in the solo portion of the Kart Rider Drift League. Everyone getting ready as we are going to Glacier Extreme Stadium. All right, racers are off. Luning gonna try and get some bumping in to get in first place, and it works for him. Nicely navigated as these first couple turns. We'll see if he can able to solidify this position. Luning with some nice cutting in, gonna keep him ahead of InSoo.
Luning has definitely been the player that's been most consistent with giving himself the early advantage. He knows exactly how to maneuver around at the beginning, as we see so many players are close by right now, blocking each other out, but now we do see a consolidation of that top 3.
Yeah, Luning, Cool, and Striker right now coming through the first couple of these U-turns, heading into the hairpin section. Cool losing a little bit of momentum. There are actually a lot of players here in the mid-pack losing momentum heading here into the hairpins. As Luning gonna try and compound on this lead. InSoo, Cool, and Striker right behind him.
InSoo and HyunSu, these two players are the ones fighting for the rank 1 finish in the solo match. However, we see HyunSu, he is at 5th place. That means he is really far behind InSoo right now. So InSoo, he needs to mess up, or HyunSu, he needs to pull out something crazy out of his pocket.
Man, InSoo has done a fantastic job of closing distance between himself and Luning right here. Just down to a couple of meters now as they are neck and neck here for pole position. HyunSu and Cool right behind them, but for now, all eyes on Luning and InSoo.
And of course, we cannot forget SeungHa, Spear, Luning, and Cool. Those 4 players are so close to each other in terms of overall points, but they are also at the risk of being eliminated.
That's right, every single point matters, every position matters. As all of these tournament players trying their best to get any edge they can. HyunSu coming in 3rd place, finish line only 500 meters away.
InSoo looking for the finish, but Luning is there to try to not make it happen, but InSoo does make it at 1st place, followed by Luning at 2nd and HyunSu at 3rd place.
Man, the top of this group is just absolutely stacked. These guys are neck and neck every single time, taking some of the tightest lines I have ever seen in Kart Rider Drift, and what is just a masterclass here at the top. I mean, InSoo, HyunSu, Luning, at times Cool. These guys are just playing out of their minds right now. InSoo, 152.179. 35 boosts, 64 drifts, going to propel himself into 1st place. But look at that, 4th, 5th, and 6th, with Cool and SeungHa tied for 5th and 6th. Only 2 points separating them.
And you have to remember that InSoo is already at 47 points, only 3 points away from finishing this solo mode. So this is going to be the very last chance our players have to avoid being eliminated.
Yep, every racer, especially those towards the bottom of the podium, are going to have to do their absolute best here. Get the best position possible to survive, as Factory Facility 5 is going to be the map.
This right here is going to make it or break it. The potential final solo race of the day, as we see Luning once again being consistent with his early game.
Yeah, we'll see. Glamint spinning out just a little bit right there. InSoo, HyunSu, and Luning all the way in 1st place. Cool, SeungHa, Striker, and Spear. These players desperately need points as we're going to try and make the first jump over here. Okay, everyone's able to make the first jump here on this shortcut. That's critical to saving as much time as possible heading into the next few turns.
Wow, Everyone made it just fine except for one player who did fall behind a bit. But it's important to keep in mind that InSoo is looking so good, keeping up in top 5, and he only needs 3 more points. So now we have to wonder, Cool and SeungHa, who is tied for 5th and 6th, can they beat the score of Spear, who is only 2 points away?
Cool looks like he's gutting for that spot right now in 3rd place. Oh, with some fantastic maneuvering, body blocking the players behind him as he gets a little bit of speed from that.
Wow.
Now, perfectly navigating with a sharp drift this very tricky section here of this map is Cool, closing the distance on HyunSu, but more importantly, fighting to keep his tournament life alive.
We have Cool and Luning so close to each other while HyunSu is sitting up there with a comfortable lead. Cool trying to make the impossible happen in order to catch up, and Cool definitely needs it because he is at 25 points. He wants to get ahead of SeungHa and Spear.
Oh, but Cool's going to be able to get 2nd place right there. It's a ton of points, and we'll see how the final standings shake up here. As I believe that's going to be the last one, right? That's got to be 50 points in the bag.
Right, InSoo, he is going to take the 1st place, showing why he is the feared player, the captain of Liiv SANDBOX, who had such a fantastic showing today.
Yeah, just fantastic performance all around, and you can see why a lot of people online were calling this the group of death, because every single race was so hotly contested. And we'll see how the final standings shake out here. HyunSu in 1st place. Cool right behind him. He's going to love having those points.
Wow, we stand corrected. We thought InSoo was going to be the 1st place, but HyunSu, by making it into that 1st place, he was able to clutch that victory, and it's actually HyunSu with the win.
Spear, SeungHa, Striker, and Glamint will be the players eliminated here from Group A, and HyunSu surprising even us.
Yeah.
Coming through with 1 point ahead of InSoo. We'll walk away with 1st place here in Group A. And man, what a fantastic way to close out the show tonight, as that was just some absolutely spectacular racing.
I mean, it was really, really close. Not even with the 1st and 2nd place, but even with the final 4th and 5th place trying to fight each other to avoid that elimination spot. It has been an absolute pleasure to see some of the most top quality kart rider drift.
Yeah. I'm wondering exactly what's going to happen right now. Was there a tie between players between ranks 5 and 8, or am I mistaken? As we see, actually, no, we have the victors right here: HyunSu, InSoo, Luning, and Cool. For a moment, I was a little bit confused by the prompter there, but yep, victory confirmed here, as HyunSu will be walking away as the Group A victor here.
I mean, HyunSu, I really, really like just the story behind this 1st place finish. He had to absolutely finish 1st place in that last race in order to achieve it, and it's just so well deserved, I must say.
Yeah, just fantastic racing all around, and you know, we were talking a lot about consistency. You want to be close to the top of the pack every single time to be able to make it a chance, and pretty much everyone here that made top 4, that was their story. HyunSu, InSoo, Luning, and Cool. If they weren't winning, they were within striking distance of winning. It felt like almost every single time. And just fantastic racing all around. Couldn't ask for a better start here to the KDL.
Right, I mean, striking distance of the player named Spear, that must be a really terrifying thing. He was only 4 points away, and I must say though, Cool, I feel like throughout the races, he definitely has been consistent, at least when he was doing good. Although when he was doing not so good, he may have gotten into the 7th and 8th place. I still feel like Cool really, really showed well his drifting abilities today, and he definitely earned this spot.
Oh, absolutely. That was a well-deserved spot. And I want to give some props to Glamint as well, the rookie coming in here to the Group of Death. He only had 4 points in this group, but there were many maps where halfway through, he was contesting for top 3, top 4, top 5. He shows a lot of potential, and I mean, you kind of got to just take this one head on, you know, accept the defeat. You were playing up here with legends, some of the best players in the world here of Kart Rider Drift, and I think if he's not too hard on himself and he kind of takes a step back, looks at this as kind of a learning experience, we can see some really bright things from him in the future.
I mean, absolutely. We have so many more weeks of kart, maybe even a whole year of kart. Like, we are ready for this Kart Rider Drift esports, man. We have given the stage to the players. All they need to do is practice and perform and show us what they can do.
Absolutely, man. It's been a blast playing this game, learning this game, watching these pro players play, casting for the first time ever with you, Peter. It's just been fantastic. This couldn't have been a better start to the KDL.
Thank you. I definitely agree. I feel like today was pretty much like we've had a taste of everything. We've had some really hype matches. They were super close, and we've had these like really like insane matches where it didn't really seem close, but all of a sudden, you know, the Nitros comes out
Yeah.
and just boom, first place is taken.
Especially in item mode. I mean, for me as a player, usually I'm a speed mode guy, you know, when I'm
Yeah.
playing online. I haven't been too big of a fan of item mode, but I think today might have changed my opinion just a little bit. I want to be that guy making the plays with a nitrous, with the shields, coming from behind and winning the map, you know? I mean, that was just so cool. So many fantastic, surprising moments here today. And I mean, the energy level, it just felt like it was through the roof. And you could tell the audience also was loving every minute of it.
Yeah, I mean, today is such a good day for Kart Rider Drift as the global viewers finally got a chance for some English broadcast. And I think that definitely we have given what the fans wanted to see today.
I hope so.
Yeah, I mean, the players did, right?
Yeah, for sure, absolutely. And for you guys watching at home, you know, get the word out that this league is happening in English. I think in Korea for the first time ever. Tell your friends, send out some messages on social media, let people know that this is happening. This is happening live, and it's some of the best kart rider action you're ever going to see.
And this was only just four different teams today that we saw compete, as well as only one group. Speaking of, the next time will be Group B competing, and Group B is actually regarded as potentially the second worst group, you know, the hardest group to play in.
You said second worst group, and I was like, man, Peter, you really aren't selling this right now, man. Don't tell him that.
Good thing I changed it to hardest.
But yeah, I mean, fantastic from start to finish here. The matches were competitive. We had the group of death here to kick things off as well, which was just fantastic. And the fact that we have 6 more weeks of Kart Rider Drift preseason ahead of us is just, it's such a thrill. I'm so happy to be a part of this. And I hope the community is enjoying having English commentary here too, because this is an esport that has been kind of quietly tucked away in Korea for a long time. It's one of Korea's best kept gaming secrets, but it's now taking a big step onto the global stage, and I could not be more excited about the future for Kart Rider.
And what is so great about esports is that it is an environment of learning for everyone. Pros, they can learn to fix their mistakes or see what they did good and capitalize on that some more. But even the viewers, you know, taking notes on some things like 6.0, 6.2 today, maybe you want to configure your kart the same way as these pro players.
Yeah, and here we have the preview of the next match. This will be tomorrow, same place, same time. Roxy Esports versus the Kwangdong Freaks. You do not want to miss that. And Aura versus Planet as well. And in the solo match, both Hojun and Neil. Oh boy, that's going to be a fantastic show.
That is absolutely some of the biggest names that we could hope to see compete. Of course, Percent is a player also really hyped up for.
Yeah, I see now why you say this is potentially the second hardest group in this tournament, because it has a lot of star power right there from the top. I mean, Hojun and Neil, any group those guys are going to be in, you got to think that everybody else is fighting for those last 2 spots to qualify for the next round, right?
Right, and not only that, we have 4 different teams that we did not get to see at all, so it's going to be really cool to see what strategies Rox, Kwangdong Freaks, Aura, and Planet have come up with. You know, we could have a completely different vibe tomorrow than today.
Yeah, absolutely. We can see what other tricks these teams have up their sleeves. Maybe we'll see some more interesting builds in item mode or some other plays similar to the way that we got surprised today by a lot of combinations of high acceleration builds. I think we saw some 06. I'm trying to do math that adds up to 14 now because I can't remember what the drift boosts were, but I don't want to do it on air. But we saw some interesting builds, and we saw some very cool plays, and I think tomorrow we'll have some more interesting stuff like that in store.
Right. I mean, going back to the point system, we saw Liiv SANDBOX, for instance, go for the 6.260, while Sensation went for the 6.062. Just these minimal changes are what makes the difference in whether you win or lose, and that's what makes Kart Rider Drift really fun.
That's going to be it for us today here at the KDL. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you again tomorrow, same time, same place.